my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs and voices never shared. No one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fool said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arm that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. And the sign flashed out its warning, and the words that it was forming. And the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls, tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence.
You told me not to trust anyone. I'm sorry. Those were his last words.
Yeah, Name and Line Productions, Destiny Lab Collabo, CeeLo's Beat. Let's get 'em.
Some people flee and some people fight. There's some that will stand, defend what is right. There's others who run, cower and hide. Despite all the evidence that's been supplied, there's a war over truth, the greatest divide. There's a line in the sand, now where will you side? There's no reason to fear, with Christ on our side. The wide or the narrow path, time to decide.
Call themselves gods and erected this dark tower, but now their brightest moment shall become their darkest hour. They wanted people to kneel and counter like they got the power, but my God got the power higher than the highest tower. They shall crumble and cower like the Tower of Babel. My God owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. They can rattle and tattle. The Holy Spirit will still overshadow like the day of Pentecost or as in the last battle.
One God, one Christ, God on the flesh, man. Sent from above, second down on the cleanse, man. Trample the serpent, flooded the earth, destroy them first, all the blood from the Nephilim curse. Have a moment, know a first step, foot on the dirt. It began all again toward Babylon's birth. For a time it emerges, even in church, to revert mankind, so we must be alert. There's a struggle deep inside, a spiritual fight, a battle for souls between darkness and light. Deep inside every one of us and all of our lives, sin is grinding like sleight of hand to mesmerize, but we're wise to the plan and schemes that they devise. Nothing's new, recognize it's the same disguise. Evil fallen ones wearing new skins and hides. We deny them through Christ, access denied.
Trying to set free all of these captive borders. Read your Bible, that's the captain's orders. Got the mind of Christ, that's the captain's quarters. Now you're safe within the captain's borders. My God's plants it higher than Spider-Man. Rip the scales off of the Leviathan. You can call the lizard man, retire hyperclan. My God will still inspire them. We're a little sharper than the 2 so the proton blast by Iron Man.
We sleep, the alarms going off, beep beep. Time to wake up to the deceit. Our whole reality's made up by the elite.
They live, we sleep. The alarm's going off, beep beep. Time to wake up to the deceit. Our whole reality's made up by the elite. They live, we sleep. The alarm's going off, beep beep. Time to wake up to the deceit. Our whole reality's made up by the elite. I came here to kick some ass just like Roddy Piper. These motherfuckers that walk among us, they got me hyper. But don't be chewing that bubble gum, it's got aspartame. It's a chemical directly targeted at your brain, just like the fluoride that they put in the water supply and all the geoengineering we got in the sky. I'm trying to tell you, and I hope that you're hearing me clearly, this ain't no bullshit speculation conspiracy theory. They live and they're controlling every move you make, from the apartment that you live in to the juice you drink. They give you television to help you ignore this prison while feeding you genetically modified organisms. They want us like the Walking Dead, just obey and consume. Don't worry about anything, keep awaiting your doom. To all my warriors out there, this is indeed my call. It's time to put a fucking end to this elite cabal. Time to wake up to the deceit. Our whole reality's made up by the elite. They live, we sleep. The alarm's going off, beep beep. Time to wake up to the deceit. Our whole reality's made up by the elite.
I don't know about you guys, but I can't hear anything.
Oh, how about now? Can you hear me now? Jesus.
What kind of show is this?
The
It's way
mute
too
show.
damn early. That's the problem.
It's just sign language only.
Oh, okay. We can.
What's up? What's going on, guys? How you doing today, Rich?
I'm doing well. Thanks for doing this. I don't know.
Man.
Whatever this is. Welcome, everybody. Apparently, Waters Above says there's 33 Illuminati confirmed people here. So wonderful.
Could be. We're streaming on a couple platforms right now, so could be 33 in the main chat. And we got 9 or 10 on the backup channel. And we're also on Facebook, where there is a viewer. So shout out to the Facebook.
Hooray.
Yeah.
To the viewer.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the Family Guy days when they talked about women's basketball. And they said, well, whatever happens, we'll let the fan decide, because there's like never anybody in women's basketball stadiums.
Absolutely. 100%. It's literally the same thing. And it's funny that someone was talking about women's basketball the other day. They're like, you like that? I'm like, I don't even like sports in general, but
yeah,
I don't.
I just call it sports ball now because I'm totally out of all that. That was like my past life.
Mm.
But yeah, it's kind of funny. I do wear sports team shirts when I
There's
go
shirts,
out.
man.
Well, I go out in the public because it's it helps you blend in. I look at outfits as costumes now. I won't wear certain things depending on where I go.
Right, you're not the sorest thumb out there.
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh
funny.
man. But let me go through the chat real quick, say what's up to everyone. We got 3 fingers in the chat. William, Sue Finelli, Awesome Austin. What's up, brother? We got a link up soon, by the way. Tommy Rogers 2, System Failure 3. It's funny, I'm seeing all these 2s and 3s because YouTube is trying to smoke everyone again.
Yeah.
We got Tommy Paint, Bowie Buckets. What are we getting into this morning? Well, we're going to talk about some maps. I've just got some random cool shit here and there. I know Ceiling Fan wanted to pretty much talk about the power of suggestion in a way. That's kind of where our conversation led last night. So we'll dip into that in a little bit. Juan Torres, what's up, brother?
Juan Torres.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. Got Karen Ann Preston, Zulu 1, Boston Guy 51, Great Bowls of Fire. What's up? Guitar Bear. Who was that? Sandman. Jenny T.I. Murphy, Waters Above, Ben Foster, Ben Porter. What's up? I don't know what that name is, but what's going on?
Oh, come on. You're not even going to try?
No. It's in a different language, Rich. So is this one. We got some people from overseas.
That's fantastic. Well, and I also wonder, there's a picture here. The person is named Vesa in Lapland, but it looks like the Prime Minister of Finland's picture. So has he changed his name?
I remember he changed it. Yeah. I think like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, and Austin's here. Good to see you. Sorry, I'm that bad friend. I'm like, oh, I got an idea, and I'll send him a link, and it's like 4 a.m. and probably wakes up his family. And then I called him on a show one time by accident. Yeah, good friend.
You just putting him down, man.
I know. Yeah, he's not taking any of my calls anymore.
Jeez. Who else is hanging out? We got Dean HD. What's going on, Dean? We got Justine. We got Christine Springer. We got a bunch of people in the chat this morning. Janine. I'm assuming that's Janine.
I use the name Jeannie, but yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Chris from South Jersey. Philip Baca. JT74. TTS69. Jen's in the house somewhere. And I mean, this chat just keeps going. So we're going to stop there. We got 60 live on all the platforms. So
fantastic.
Not bad for a morning stream, afternoon stream, wherever you are. Could be nighttime if you're watching from wherever that language is from, but we got too much on that. But yeah, let me show you guys something real quick. So the whole new year kind of just happened on us, that doesn't really happen for another like 2 or 3 months, but we'll get into that later, I think. But did anyone remember what was it last year in Seattle at the what do they call that thing, the space antenna, whatever it's called?
Space needle, where you get your injections from.
Yeah, right. So funny how that works out like that too. But no, so remember last year on New Year's how they had like it was a virtual. Yeah, they did it again in China. And I got another China picture video to show us after. So let me break this big real quick.
Yeah, for those of you that weren't familiar, they did a virtual 4th of July celebration where they had stuff exploding. But if you were in Seattle, you didn't see it. It was only on Tele's Vision. So
yes, and I'm not quite sure what the story is behind this one. I don't know if it's here. We'll turn this volume down. People screaming. I don't know if this is like virtual. I don't know if they did this in the sky. Seems like they got a nice cloud cover in the sky, like we were saying yesterday, the old projection system. Mm-hmm. So let's just play this out and you guys tell me what you think. I don't know, Maybe we'll give it a little volume. Oh yeah, they actually took a song with it.
Water's above.
Isn't that strange? I thought that was very strange. I'm like,
Yeah.
your first scene is gonna be pretty much us under the water.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting.
What is that? The fallen angels coming down?
Could be.
I saw this in Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. And Sharp Snake, technically, that is a blue beam. Yes. Oh, we got to have the snake references or the dragons, of course. Now, what was that view? Is that supposedly inside as it's happening?
I'm assuming that is CGI. I'm assuming this is all CGI.
Yeah. That looks like a hypodermic needle right there. Real quick. Oh, great. It's a penis rocket. This is awesome.
Thought that was strange.
That's how the event happened, right? And fried everything.
That's what I'm saying, yo.
Hey, there I am.
Face.
Oh, no,
That's not you. No, that's your.
that's
your
the
brother
ISS
stuff.
or something.
Yeah.
See, and this is the thing again. Here, we'll pause this for a second. That we keep talking about how they want to get us in the virtual world and the metaverse and all that, and how terrible that could be in the future. And yet here we are watching it. So they're making it fun. They're making it exciting.
They're bringing it to us. We don't have to go anywhere.
Right. And then we're going to say, wow, I want that. I want to try that. I want to get those glasses and start playing tennis fake. And you know what I mean? They're making it exciting and people are asking for it. But anyways, keep going.
Well, real quick, what's interesting? Here, let me try to find this real quick. I got it right here. I was having a chat with Awesome Austin the other day, and apparently there's these things called, what are they called? Aurora glasses, and they're made with like this certain, it's like night vision, but instead of like seeing everything better at night, it like overlays. Like remember They Live?
Yeah.
So imagine that, but like you get to see like the things we're not technically allowed to see. You know what I'm saying? Like entities and beings and flying crafts and whatever it could be, So I feel like when they roll out, because they're rolling out the virtual world right now, and it's all virtual. It is what it is at that rate. But at the same time, in the near future, I could see them interlacing this technology with this whole metaverse stuff. So not only are you playing in the metaverse, you're also playing in whatever dimension world that these beings may actually entertain. So I just think that's very interesting. I got it in a file over here. So after we'll share this, I'll try to bring that up. But there's only another like 30 seconds left of this. So let's see what else they had to show us for the new year, 4K, 4D celebration, whatever. Like you said, they're making it like a happy thing.
Yeah, that's totally just added into super little.
Of course, yeah. Of course, it's all added in there at the end, but just still, no, we're having trouble. Nice. Nice. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting because they, like you were saying, they pulled that in Seattle last year, and it seems like they're pulling out the same cards in different parts of the world this year. And like you said, it's just more normalizing this virtual, this meta, this whatever you want to call it, So very, very, very interesting. But let me try to bring up what I was talking about over here real quick. I don't know which video I'm going to find here, but I know it's in one of these right here.
And then I have something to show you too that kind of connects to this metaverse thing that we're discussing. Something I talked to you about last night.
You want to, or actually, no,
I can bring it up right now. I have it here. You want
I got this here real quick. Let me get out of this.
Yeah, it's your show.
People came to this world.
Now, you know what's very interesting? Everyone and their grandmother right now is talking about Hollow Earth, tall giant beings, not like mainstream ads, like who were the Nordics, who were the whatever, it's like, hey, I thought that was all censored and fake, now you're on 2, 3, 4 million subscriber channels talking about this stuff. Like, where were you guys like 2 years ago? Where were you guys 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Just it seems like they're getting us ready, I saw like an ad for a documentary. It was why does the snake crawl on his belly? Well, we kind of know why. I don't think you need a further explanation. They're trying to justify it, like, oh, that poor snake. Like, what? No.
Whereas they told us years ago it's in the book. It's like, yeah, dude, just read the darn book.
Very interesting, right? Here, let me. I don't quite know where the parts are in this video, but let me just do a skimmer real quick. So yeah, let me get like right up here. All right, let's check this out. You can see this?
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly, these glasses are based on a true story. In the 1920s, a scientist named Walter Kilner experimented with a dark blue chemical dye called dicyanin, which he poured into a glass screen.
Dicyanin, that's what the stuff is called, the glasses. That's what the element is inside of them, dicyanin. Don't know how to spell it, don't know much about it, but I know what I know so far, and it's very interesting.
And when he gazed through the screen, he found that he was able to see the aura of a person standing in front of him. He was able to see the person's aura because the specific color of the dye blocked out a large portion of the white light spectrum. This left only a small portion, which helped concentrate his perception of the aura. Now this gets interesting because supposedly in the 1940s, they decided to make this dye illegal. Dicyanin is not
in the 40s, and what else happened in the 40s? I'm not too sure if anyone quite remembers. Roswell, that was what, early 50s or that early 40s? Can't remember, but Israel nation in the 40s. Operation Babylon Working, 40s, early 40s. Who else was on that? Aleister Crowley. He conjured in something called LAM, L-A-M, that looks indistinguishable from what regular people call a gray alien, all in the late 40s. Mm-hmm. So I feel like they were using this to see that, you know what I'm saying? Like, see the portal, see the opening, see all this stuff. But I'm gonna let us play like 1-2 more minutes and we'll get into it.
Drug, it's not toxic, and it's made from coal tar. However, it's as if it's been erased from our knowledge because there's little information on the subject. The reason they wanted to hide it is because it allowed anyone to see into the astral. You didn't have to be sensitive or have to train in meditation. This knowledge needed to be suppressed in order to train and program future generations. Is there some sort of cover-up? Listen to this story about vets who were seeing demons with old military tech.
There you go.
To launch some, yeah. So that means that they've had about 30 years to tweak this stuff wherever.
And I know that this stuff exists because my father's role in the military brought him very close to it many times. So my father did 3 tours in the Vietnam War. And in his second tour, he was advanced enough in rank, and he was there, I think, 11 or 12 months. And when he was in country at that point, he's always been a field officer and came up in the military through the Korean War in a battlefield commission. And so, the military likes guys like him, and they let him be in charge of a couple of different projects. One of the projects that he was in charge of at the time was this technology that they introduced into Vietnam that almost brought the war to a standstill. Mm-hmm. And this technology was a night vision goggle. But it's not night vision as we have it now, okay? Because the night vision goggle was done in the red spectrum. And so when my father came back from Vietnam...
You mean infrared or?
No, I'll explain.
Ordinary red.
No, ordinary red. Okay, So instead of seeing... When you look at a night vision goggles now, you see green. Everything is translated into green. And human eye sees green, more colors, shades of green than any other color. It's part of our evolution, our need to find food.
So that's clever then.
Correct. But see, here's the thing. It started off as red. And so the night vision goggles were introduced to helicopter pilots and gunnery people in Vietnam. And I won't hesitate I won't guess as to which year it was that they introduced them. But my father was part of this initial experiment with the troops that he commanded. And it was a disaster because the image was presented in red pixels, not green. And because of the technology being used at that time, it created very interesting effects that they could not deal with. So you had some officers that were part of this cadre or this cohort of other officers that were all testing these new technologies for the military that had their troops always use these goggles. And those units became self-destructive. They went down in a horrid situation. My father was extremely practical, didn't want to see himself get destroyed in any way, wanted to return and get out. So as soon as he saw what's going on with these goggles, he had his people take them off. And he actually got praise from the military for the way that he dealt with all of this. But the effect was this: a gunner in a helicopter would have no problem using these goggles, and only everything is showing up as a sort of a faint reddish image. And it was true night vision the way we have it now, and even a greater depth, because you could also flip it and get an extra layer that was sort of yellowish that would be heat signatures as well. And they don't have those combined anymore in these goggles. Anyway, the goggles that were presented to the gunners, and my father tells the story of the very first time they're out with them, and they're flying along, and he's in the front of the helicopter with the pilot. And all of a sudden, in a very peaceful area, not anything going on at all, the gunner in his on the starboard side of his helicopter starts firing wildly at their height, not at anything on the ground, but in an area that he was shooting at, and basically causing other helicopters in their little flotilla to have to react. And my father goes on back to the gunner, basically demanding, "What the hell, dude? What are you shooting at?" And the kid is just sweating profusely, and his eyes are just dilated beyond belief. And my dad thought he was dealing with another heroin addict, but this was before it had gotten really bad in Vietnam, and the kid was not exhibiting those kind of symptoms. He was reacting to what he had seen, and he's describing to my father that he was shooting at these basically flying demons that were flying alongside the helicopter. And,
wow.
and they were coming to get him.
Imagine
because
that.
they were gesturing at him and they could see him. And so he reacted and he started shooting his Bren gun, big 50 caliber slugs at these things, right? And they were flying along right next to the helicopter. So he's firing out directly from the helicopter, and there are other helicopters in the vicinity. So it caused all kinds of problems.
Imagine that.
That's fantastic. Wow.
Incredible, huh? I thought that was rather.
So that's really the They Live glasses. So other people have been talking in the chat. I mean, I don't know there's that name for it, but how do we make them? Let's get them in production. Let's get that warehouse with the boxes that we hand them out, and then they come try to shut us down. I saw the movie. Let's do this, right?
Oh man,
shoot.
That'd be crazy as hell, man. But yeah, that's
something else.
I thought that was crazy, and he could see right into it, man. See right through it and see what's. I bet if you put those on, like Austin brought this by me. He said, I bet if you put those on in a room where a husband and wife are fighting, you'll see 3 or 4 of those just making it worse and making it worse. And
like ringmasters just egging them on. Go, right? Yeah.
Like little whispers in the ear,
Yeah.
Just very, very crazy. And it blew my mind. So shout out to Austin for that.
Yeah.
He
said
you
got that video from him?
Yes. He says you can make them. He has a link with details. So
okay,
I'm assuming that'll be in my inbox sooner than later.
Yeah. Hey, Austin, if you're still listening, send that to me too. I'd love to look into this also. We got to have as many eyes on it as we can, right?
Yeah. We got to check that out for sure. That's kind of been
real eyes, right? The first time I had my very first like flat earth shirts I got, and it said real eyes, real lies, real lies. And it had the globe on it. And one of my my sons came up to me and he's like, "Oh, that's that Tupac quote." And I'm like, "What?" But hey, Steve, you got to check this out. Can I screen share something here?
You got the screen share ready?
Yeah. Check this out. So everybody, they're screaming us as fast as they can as a freight train going into the metaverse. And along the way, it's not just going to be us. They're gonna bring along. Let's see. Do I have it?
You're up.
They're gonna bring along the animals. Because why take a cow and let him graze in the field like he was supposed to on God's green earth? No, let's keep him trapped in a cage and where they can't move. But don't worry, we'll put VR goggles on them so that way they can think that they're that they're in a pasture of green grass. And there's actually, as there's sound, there's chirping birds in a field. The metaverse coming here too very soon. And you'll have your favorite animals there. You can put your one on your dog, and I guess your dog could be in your room with you, you know, and you can pet them virtually. But this is for the cows, so that way they can actually go outside and enjoy life. Metaverse. Come on, Steve.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous. And by the way, shout out to this guy, Carl Vernon. I get a lot of stuff from him. He's got some amazing stuff. So that's where I found that. Anyways.
Wow. Yeah, let me milk my virtual cow for you.
Yeah, don't put them in the pasture and give them a loving life. No, let's keep them locked in and make them think they're somewhere. That's the same thing they're doing to us. That's our future right there, and nobody sees it, man. They don't.
I agree with Pat Riot. This is BS. 100%, man. Could not be a higher grade of BS.
What do you mean, poor cows, Valley Parks? Those cows are going to get to hang out with us in the Spider-Man metaverse. Yes, no, it's ridiculous.
I can't believe that. You know, it's so crazy. So
that's why we try to do whatever we can locally as best we can, you know, because I won't deal with it. Like we get milk, we get it from a local farm. We of course our own eggs and anything else we can, we try to local source it. Because at least, you know, the animals are being treated fairly. At least you hope you have a better chance.
I was going to say, you got a much better chance. Much better chance.
But I honestly believe that's why I pray before I eat anything. And not only am I thanking God, of course, because I could be starving, but no, once again, there was food that was available to me. So I thank him. And at the same time, if that animal had a bad life, maybe that might get me sick. But if you ask God to please bless your food, well, then he makes it good. Because if you read the Bible, it says everything that comes from God is good. So you just have to get his blessing. Now, there's certain things he tells you not to eat. Why? Because I believe it can make you sick. You know, shellfish eat all the stuff in the sea, and the pigs eat everything and that kind of stuff. But he doesn't say you're going to go to hell if you eat it. He just says, I don't think you should do it. And you know what? Jesus did a lot for me. I figure if I can, you know, do a couple things like that are pretty easy, I'll do it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, really? I love king crab legs and shrimp. Really? I was on the cross for 3 days. Yeah? Okay. All right, fine. I won't eat that.
I didn't eat for 40 days at one point.
But like one time, not too long ago, I couldn't take the world, whatever was happening. And damn it, I had pepperoni in my pizza and it was delicious. So there.
Well, hey.
But also, if you're somewhere and they're serving you something that you don't normally eat, you can either eat around it or you just eat. Because God even just says, you know, when someone's at your house, you make what makes them comfortable. But when you're at their house, you eat what they give you. And that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Absolutely. That's kind of how it's always been. People got these, I don't know, people got these weird, oh man, I wouldn't eat that. It's like, bro, you're at someone else's house. Don't be rude, you know?
But isn't it funny? Like, just like in the truth community, I can't go and talk to if I had any left friends, I can't go and talk to them and say all these things, the ideas I have, because if it's different than theirs, they're done. That's why they're not talking to me. But you can't do the same thing with food, right? If you have a certain diet, because we went to it was a party and it was hosted by vegetarians, and that's all they had, and not even good vegetarian stuff. It was just like that plate that has like the carrots and the celery and then like ranch dressing, you know, that kind of shit. And so it's like, if they came to my house, I wouldn't just like serve whatever and have like meat and stuff or whatever and just say, hey, deal with it. It's just funny that it can go the other way, you know? They would expect me to make them a certain meal, which I would. But when I go there, it's like, no, this is what you're eating and deal with it. You know, not that I don't eat vegetables, but come on, put some effort into it.
Yeah, right. At that rate, you know.
It's like a salad bar. I could have done this before I got here. Anyways, we're off on topic. We were supposed to be talking about deep things. We're talking about salad bars.
That's okay. You brought it up, not me.
I know. It's amazing I get on anyone's shows. Hey, everyone. I got 82 people here, Steve. Fantastic.
Not bad at all.
Not bad for a house cat.
No, definitely not bad at all. Hey, let's check this out real quick. It's a little movie clip, and like I always say, there's way more truth in the music, the movies, the TV shows than you'll find in any history book ever printed. Check this out. Let me just make this big. Jesus. Still got this little lingering cough. Mad annoying. I don't know where this is from. Spider Wick. I don't know what that means. Maybe that's the name of the movie, but check this out. Very, very interesting. You know, maybe not far from it. I don't know where this ice wall is located in this movie, the outer rim, the inner rim. I would say inner rim in my opinion, but you'll check this out.
Is that a dragonfly? Look like.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, that's annoying as hell. I'm glad our dandelions don't make that noise. Or if they do, we don't hear it, I guess.
Well, I guess apparently if you cut grass, you know, on like the lowest decibels, you can actually hear it cry when you cut it.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I mean, I haven't heard it, but I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yes. I don't have the machine.
Is that true? Do we know? I don't know.
I've seen the videos and the documents to back it up.
Oh, okay. Well,
I haven't tried it. I don't have the equipment, but from what I've seen, from what they let us have, you know, it seems pretty accurate.
Well, that honestly goes with the whole thing. Like when people say, you know, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that, like meat eating and stuff. And the way I look at it is, if you read it, the scriptures, it says that that we have dominion. In other words, we're different than the rest of the living creatures, including the earth. We're different than them, and we're different than the angels or whatever. We're whatever we are. And so that doesn't mean that you go around and just shoot animals and stuff and kill them for sport, because you are allowed to, because you have dominion. That would bring you, I think, bad consequences, because now you're doing kind of a darkness work. But if you needed to survive, now in the past, we used to be gigantically tall, supposedly, and live to like thousands of years. Maybe then we were self-sufficient and didn't need this kind of food that we do now. And after the flood, things changed. And we're shorter and we live less, and we're allowed to eat meat. Because if we're not allowed to eat meat, God, the Leviticus chapter would have been, don't eat meat. And then we'll go to the next page. He does a really breakdown of what to eat, what not to eat. And then within the animals, which, like birds, there's certain birds he doesn't want you to eat. And those are the ones I think are probably spiritual beings, angels, whatever. But he specifically breaks it down, things to eat, not to eat. And so I kind of feel it's the same thing that everything I know is alive. And so when I have to trim a branch or cut a tree because of some need that we have, I'll pray over it and I'll say, I'm sorry, even before I start, because maybe they feel it. Everything is alive. I don't know how it works, but there is allowed to be death, and we are allowed to somehow do that as long as it's for a cause that I believe fulfills, you know, scripture or fulfills the God's law. If you just start breaking it just because you can, well, then I think you've overstepped your boundaries. So, But you know what? Each do your own. This is just my ideas.
Right. If you're just going through the woods, chopping down trees because you're a dickhead, like that's you know.
Yeah. Like if you just go and just kill somebody, that's murder, and that's obviously not good. But if somebody is charging at, say, your child and is in any second going to kill them, are you allowed to take them out? And you can look through the scriptures, and for goodness sake, Moses, who's one of the greatest leaders of the Bible, he straight up murdered a dude, and he had to go in hiding for a long time. You know, and you can go through passages and find that people have done bad things, and there's been wars and things. So, you know, I don't know how the rules all work. I just know that if it's a righteous thing, I think you at least you'll have less wrath, maybe, but maybe you won't get any if it's God, what he wants you to do. You know?
No, absolutely. Like you said, if it's within God's laws and his limitations and his allowance, it should be decently good to go. But like you said, at the same time, if you're just doing it as a sport, like if you're a hunter, you need to hunt for your village, all good. If you're just doing it because you like to kill deer in your spare time, probably not the best idea, in my opinion. But
Well, and then just like, so what? I'm going to be, how do I not walk on grass and think I'm hurting it? I can't do that. I believe we're separated because we have a soul. I think everything else can be alive, but we have a soul. That's how God separated us out. That's the way I think.
Oh, Richard, think about it. You step on grass, it falls down, and it just comes back up.
Yeah. I like, did you pull up Rico's tinfoil comment? Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Which one? He's got a couple.
My grass is so emo, it cuts itself. I mean, come on. That's great. I like
it. So stuck in the early 90s, mid 90s.
Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, it's good stuff there. We got some good people in the chat. We got like 100 altogether, 102 altogether, 87 here, 15 there. A couple Facebook peepers. Shout out to you guys. I know I don't do too much here, but I mean we don't get too many. Facebook is really selective, on what we're allowed and not allowed to share. Check this out real quick, Rich. I don't know if you've seen this, but this is some sort of rocket that they launched in China, and it's an artificial sun, basically. Check this out. Let me bring it back. It's getting ready. It's taking off. Blah blah blah. And something else to look into, guys, real quick on a side note. Any space agency in the world, go compare the helium that they buy compared to the helium bought anywhere else on Earth. Like they buy all the helium. NASA has like the world's biggest helium tank. Why would that be?
My very first show, I covered this back like whatever it was, a year or so ago.
Yeah,
because I was getting into all that stuff. And we are the largest purchasers of helium, hands down. I mean, basically NASA is. And what do we need all that for if they're not balloons and shit? Yeah, keep going.
It's crazy. And we also, $23.4 million a day. Like, that's ridiculous. And what have they given us? Nothing but lies, cartoons, and oversized helium tanks. And actually, the one thing they have given us is artificial weather manipulation machines, but they don't broadcast that, obviously.
Right.
Obviously, but yeah, this is China's solar simulator being launched off of a launch pad, and I mean, it looks like the sun, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
Looks rather interesting. And then at the same time as that, let me get this off. I just got to bring a video up real quick. I'm not even going to watch the video. We just have to look at the thumbnail for this video. Oh, should watch now, whatever it's called. Blah, blah, blah. Where is it? Watch later. Should be the first one. Let's see. Of course. It's the last one. Yes. How do I get the thumbnail, though? Oh, this is going to piss me off, huh? Well,
you know what? I can show something real quick while you're doing that if you want.
Well, real quick, I showed you guys NASA's new $1 billion or $2 billion satellite they're launching, right? And what it looks like.
You're talking about the James Webb?
Yes.
The telescope.
The telescope that is ironically indistinguishable from what we have looked into as solar simulators.
Yeah, I was covering that, but that it took them like an extra 10 years, and it's more billions of dollars. It's one of the most expensive things. And when I was back into space and how much I loved it, I was excited when they said the Hubble telescope was going to show us the creation of the universe. And then, of course, once they put it up there, it broke, and they never got to see it. So now a new generation, the same lie. Here we go. This thing's going to go 1 million miles into space, and we'll see the beginning of the universe, like over again. And all it cost you was an additional like $2 trillion. You know what I mean? It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, nothing too crazy, but once
And
again,
they're always cartoons. There's not a single photo of this thing doing anything. It's all cartoons.
it is all cartoons, but it's interesting how they make the cartoon the literal exact dimensions, exact shape, exact size of what they tell us a solar simulator is.
And what year was that patent? I forgot it was going.
This was 1960, but if you go all the way back, they started making the illuminating lamps in 1896, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right. Nothing new under the sun.
No, nothing at all. Oh no, this is 1904. 1904. Whatever.
Nothing new under the simulated sun. We should change that.
How long have these bastards had this up there, you know? But I feel like we're gonna start seeing a lot of crazy things with the sun now. Maybe with artificial suns. I think this is just another way of them to publicly come out and say, hey, we're launching solar simulators, get over it, you know. But they're just saying this is the new James whatever telescope. And I mean, it even has the black center, you know. And that's the one thing is we commonly find with these solar simulators. So I would expect to see some interesting things in the sun, maybe a multiple sun type deal. I'm not too sure, but nevertheless, very, very interesting, very suspect. But I know you said you had something you wanted to share.
Oh yeah, I've got here. Let me pull this up. Hang on a second.
And at some point, you never sent me those maps.
Oh shoot! Okay,
I wasn't able to find them. I was searching a little this morning, but
I totally, you know what? I forgot. Totally spaced.
We were hitting it last night. Don't worry.
Okay, where are we at here? So let's see. I'll screen share. Clickety click. Okay. So two things. One is this was like one of the very first things I ever posted. This is back January of 2020. And I had taken this photo by accident. I had opened up the aperture of my camera and I caught this in the sky. And it's weird because it's these hexagonal patterns and it was all across the sky. This is a tree. You can actually see where it was because there's a shot or so before it where you can see the tree there. In the daytime, it was this tree. I was at this park because I wanted to shoot this this lineup of all these stars was happening. And I got this picture. Let's see, that one. And it's these same hexagonal shapes in the sky. And so that's why I was talking to Steve about part of the thing that I think about the spraying is the solar minimum, as they say. But also I think it's like, you know, you can if you're in a room and you've got lights coming down and then you blow smoke up in the air, you can totally see like the beams and stuff. And so somehow I believe the clouds, they have a way of, you know, connecting them onto this grid, and then they can broadcast whatever they want above us or block out whatever they want, like a hologram, like a laser dome. And the only other thing I was going to bring up really fast, and we can talk more on that, was this. This was what really one of the first things that woke me up. I was looking at satellites. This is, of course, on my outro of every show. I use this clip, but it's a real thing that came from NASA, and you can find it online still. Where is it? Let me back it up so you can see that thing.
There he is.
Sorry. Yeah, there he is, the man. Okay, but where is it? I'm trying to get to that spot right here. See, and I can't get there.
Just hit back. Just hit the left thing on your.
There we go. There we go. Okay. So see, this shows up. It even says this original, and I added this. But basically, what they show is this was one of the. I was looking at the satellites, and this one it blew up on the launch pad. But what freaked me out was right there. You see that? It changed, and it looks like a balloon. See, it looked like white, and then the video does some weird jump cut right about right here, flashed, and now it's gray, and it's falling apart. And when I see it fall apart, to me, it looks like a balloon. The way it's, even floats down there. Sorry about the comments. I'm sorry. But
it's a whole different thing, dude.
yeah, it changes color, and it looks like a balloon, and there's no explosion. And they tell us that rocket propellant fuel is like one of the most flammable. And the fact that this thing, it just looks like water comes out of it. And I even put on here how much it cost in 1970. See, it just looks like water spewing out or whatever. And when you look into how much money they spend in helium, if this were just a balloon, I mean, shoot, that's a lot of free money that they get doing nothing.
That's incredible.
So that's really what got me started into the researching more about NASA and satellites and all this stuff, because I'm like, wait a minute, that thing changed on the live video supposedly, and it looks like a little set too, doesn't it? So anyways, how do we get out of this? Top screen share somehow. You're over here somewhere. There you are.
That's okay.
So,
that's fun.
So, yeah.
No, good stuff, man. That's that's good old school, good old findings right there.
Yeah. So that's the thing, if they're the projection thing. So one of the things that Steve and I was talking about last night, do you want to go into this, or you got something you want to go for?
Bring it in.
Okay. So God says to fear nothing except him, and the world says to fear everything and don't believe in God. And so even as a woke, or whatever you want to call us, critical listener, learners and thinkers, whatever you want to call us, we still fall for the same traps. So, for instance, scientifically, you can prove that the placebo effect does something. Our brains are so amazing that we can actually create health in ourselves and create sickness in ourselves. So my line of thinking was this: there was a lot of people that over the last, definitely, I think something started back in the Halloween time, but basically in the last, I'd say at least 2, 3, maybe last month, a lot of us that are have tuned our antennas to the frequencies of the world that are different than what we were told, and the rest of the people are walking around still kind of zombie-ish. I believe the people that are in tune to it have all been being attacked and affected. At least they're feeling the attack more. And we've all felt either health issues or bad things are happening, and things are happening in our lives. Or there's just this, a lot of people are experiencing dizziness for no reason whatsoever, and passing out and things like that. And a lot of people have just felt uncomfortable or unease, but really don't know why. And so one of the things that they say is, look, there's all these 5G towers popping up. That's going to get us. And that's what they're using it for. And maybe, but since everything else up to this moment has been a magician's trick, what if they're putting these things up to make us say, hey, we don't listen to anything, but now I'm scared of that thing. There's one in my town, and every time I go by it, I feel it. Now I understand some people might be more in tuned. I do know people that are like that. But we all have different frequencies that we're tuned into. Some people do something better than others in this thing and not that thing. And so, not discounting that could be a real thing. But overall, I believe if you look at that and you think it's causing you harm, it can cause you harm. And then I do believe they have a way of cranking up frequencies to mess with us. But I don't believe, because our enemy does not like to spend money. In fact, everything they've done, we've had to pay for. Right? We're being monitored everywhere we paid the tax dollars to put up the cameras all over the cities. And now we buy our own and stick them on our doors called the Rings. And then we buy Alexas and things to monitor ourselves in the house. So we're doing the devil's work for him and paying for it, and putting on the goggles and buying them for our kids to put them in the metaverse because we think we're good parents, and we're just actually helping it along. And so if you go with that thinking, I know I'm on a ramble, but if you go with that thinking, then they don't need to put up a 5G tower to screw with us, because guess what? They told us they were going to turn on the 5G, and then they backed off on it because of the birds or something. But yet everyone I know has been experiencing these things on a really heavy level right up until just a couple of days ago. We all felt like something broke. And at least in my house, we were feeling it. A few of the friends that I've talked to have felt it. and they're feeling better and they're getting that joy back in them. There was a darkness over us. And I believe, look at, I've got their machine here. I'm talking on their machine. I got a TV there. I got Wi-Fi here. I mean, as smart and aware as I am, I got their shit everywhere. So if they want to mess with me, all they got to do is crank it up. It's already in my house. And when we started unplugging the Wi-Fi at night, that's actually helping us sleep. I didn't, it took us forever to figure that one out, even though everyone told us to. So I believe if they were to crank up the juice and make us feel sick, and at the same time point to these 5Gs and say these should scare you, now I'm going to look at that and go, that's what's making me sick, and not realize that it's all the shit that's in my house, and they didn't have to do anything, right? Because it was already there. And they get the fear of me on that Wi-Fi or the tower. Now they get to eat up that loosh too. I mean, I think it's a win-win for the evil side. So we just need to take that back and realize, fear nothing. That tower is not going to take you out, right? If you think you're going to fight this to the end, but then be afraid that that tower is going to take you out, you ain't going to make it, right? Full armor, God. God doesn't say fear nothing except towers, right? He doesn't say that. He doesn't say that. He doesn't say I made you perfect. But in a couple of 100 years or 1,000 years, you're going to need to get some mystery juice by this little computer guy, and then you'll be perfect. No, he doesn't say that. We can't buy into it, even as awake as we are. We can't buy into it. And even if that can cause me something, what am I going to do about it? I can't go there and cut it down. No, I can just bitch about it. Well, that's going to get you nowhere. Or you can take the power away and say, no, that ain't going to do shit to me, because I'll make sure it doesn't. Oh, hey, how's it going? I haven't seen. Is Alan here too?
But no, I know exactly what you're saying, and I like that what you're saying too, because we're talking about the 5G thing. Let's just target that for a minute. Let's say everyone's focused on that. That's the ultimate blah blah blah. Well, at the end of the day, you know what that does too? That opens the door for them to do other things in other places where you're not focusing on it. Like you said, It's the old magician's trick, watch this hand while this one's reaching in your back pocket. That's how they get you. If you're all worried about Wi-Fi and 5G and all these other HARP and 6G and metaverse, you're worried about that, Well, I'm not saying none of those are real, but they're not as real as the food and water you drink. They're not as real as the people you interact with. They're not as real as the aura, the vibe, the just the energy that you're surrounding yourself in. And that, I think, is a good part of the battle too. I think the suggestive what they've been trying to do, like, oh, 5G so bad, oh, this is so bad. But like you said, you drive by the 5G tower, you start thinking like, oh man, I got this headache now. The power suggestion works very well, but if, like you said, like I said, if you're focused on all that, they're going in the back pocket some way or another.
Well, think about this. Maybe like people are experiencing, I see some things in the chat. Yeah, maybe if you're right there next to it, you can feel it and it can mess with you. But if you're 5 miles down the road, it's not doing anything other than if you're letting it and saying, I still think that thing's affecting me. You know what I mean?
Like you say, we're antennas. You know what I'm saying? So if my antenna's up and it's fear, all this other shit is going to make its way in. And then it's actually going to create something, like with this whole CV stuff, Granted, some people been getting sick lately, it is what it is. It's that time of the season. It's that time of the year. It's the renewal process where everything becomes dead and dormant for a couple of months, and then we have life again. That's just how it works, at least on the annual cycle. And if we're dust of the earth, we're of the earth. We are the earth. So clearly we're going to have some sort of rebirthal or some sort of toxin cleansing cycle. And once that hits you, but if you're watching the news and you're listening to your friends and your aunt's texting you, did you get your jabs yet? Like I strongly think you're going to go from mild flu cold to could be in the hospital just from this, this, my brother, that's it.
My brother, when I was growing up, he had one of those globes that has the energy, like the Tesla coil in it.
Of course.
And it has those little like spider webs of electricity all around the globe. But if you put your finger on it, then it touches to your finger. And if you do a bunch of fingers, then it's on all your fingers. And if you move them together, you can get a beam that's so thick it actually can shock you on the outside of the ball. And so isn't that the same thing? If we start like saying, oh, that tower is affecting me, well, now it's locked into me. And then
Right.
it's
like
like
you're
this thing.
interfacing with it.
Yeah.
Almost. You're
Yeah.
inviting it in.
And then you're gonna get
you
sick.
have the 5G tower, and then the 5G tower. I'm not saying they aren't nothing, but they could just be
Right.
like, oh, look, this guy's weak over here. Let's crank it up in his house. You know,
If
make
I
him
light a
really go crazy.
match and I put my finger on it, it'll hurt. But if I hold my finger here, it won't. Unless somehow I tell myself just by being in this area, it's gonna hurt. Oh, he left. He didn't like that. Well, I'll try another one. He's so critical. You come up with the theory, and they're on the top of the fly, but whatever. That doesn't make sense. How's everyone doing? Let's see. Austin says, oh, he's agreeing with Steve. Well, I'm not reading that comment. What else we got? Rico says, right on. He must mean me. Okay, who else is here? I don't know what happened to Steve. It's funny. He probably told us what he was going to do, but he was muted before he did, so nobody knows. So what do we have here? But no, that's my idea. I mean, I don't know what the 5G can do. Obviously, it can do stuff. I've seen the reports that they can do things with frequencies and with energy, and I get it. And I've seen like all the things about how the houses potentially are burned down. I get all that works, but I also believe there's like limits. And so they have to make us in fear so that way we latch onto that thing, even if we're not near it. If you happen to have a tower right behind your house, that sucks. But if it's like, down the road, I'm not going to worry about it at all. Of all the things to life and worry about, that's the least of my issues. But I am going to get smarter about my electronics in this house because obviously we're surrounded in a Wi-Fi soup like everyone else. And we don't think about it, even though we talk about it and preach on these things. So I believe that's where they can get you, because our enemy has never wanted to spend money. All the lockdowns and everything they're doing, once again, we're doing it to ourselves. I believe the only way that this system works, and both sides have to work within it, is they have to you have to give up your God-given free will, which is funny because no matter what side of the coin you're on, the good or the bad or the ugly, they all agree on that one thing, that we all have God-given rights. And the only way that you can get messed with is if you give your consent. It's easy to do. I mean, shoot, I give my consent every time I just want to update my phone. My apps weren't working and I had to update it. And then, of course, you have 16 pages of tiny letters you can't read saying, do you accept all this? And you just go, yes, I want to get to my app. Nobody ever reads the fine print. That's why we're in this mess. So that's the way I believe we have to give our consent. And we hit the crossroads every day, constantly. We're always making decisions. And because we're human, we're told that we make mistakes. But the question is, are we learning from them? Are we making the same ones? And that's one of the things that God gets upset with you. And I think I pontificated enough, Steve. We don't know where you went, but here I am.
I gave it 1 sec. I just said someone was calling me, but I heard most of what you were saying before. I was just on the other side of the door there.
Shoot, see, I can ramble if I need to.
He does well. Get my guy another coffee.
I don't know what you put in this. This is delicious. So.
Wow. Here, let's check this out real quick. Speaking of mind Fs and people lying and whatnot, that ain't it. Apparently, remember we were just talking about this thing over here, this little telescope or whatever it's supposed to be. Apparently, this is the picture they took from the team that completed it. And I don't know about you, but this looks like a 100% doctored image.
And what do you mean?
It just doesn't look real to me, Rich. It looks like every aspect of this is photoshopped.
And where is that supposed to be they're standing in front of? What is that?
The entrance capsule to the new satellite they just finished for us. This thing.
To me, it go back. To me, it looks like it's maybe just the door.
Yes, the entrance, to the capsule,
Yeah.
Like you would close that and then you're good to go, I guess. But
you want to know something funny too? If you scroll up a little bit, the NASA emblem. So when we were just starting to wake up to this nonsense, and I was believing we'd been lied to about the moon and stuff.
And real quick, why are these blurry? But continue.
My wife came to me and said, that the NASA tongue is a serpent. The red stripes is a serpent tongue. And I was like, okay, all right, now you're out there. Okay. Now you're talking crazy talk. I was still probably a space boy. I was learning, but yeah, I was like, come on, now you're just seeing weirdness everywhere. And now it's like, we still talk about how stupid I was when I said that, because it's so obvious. It's all it's ever been. Never a straight answer.
That's crazy. But I'm getting what's his name? Austin sent this to me, and he's saying they're standing in front of a chamber that is a vacuum sealed chamber where they tested the telescope in front.
Oh, so yeah, that makes sense, because it looks like it's stationary to the wall. So that makes sense.
It makes sense, but I just think most of these people look photoshopped.
I don't know. I could see them getting all these people in a room and they're all duped, thinking that they're actually putting something in space, but they're not. That's how the lie is, all these people probably think they did something.
Of course. Of course. Just very interesting. I don't know, someone sent it to me, might as well share it. But where were we on the train? The train didn't go off the tracks.
Let's see. We were discussing that and that. There's the other thing too. We wanted to talk about maps too. We can do that now or later. So whatever.
We can get into the maps. I don't have any on my end right now.
Right. I didn't get you. I can send you that. But I was mostly talking about the idea. So we're all trying to figure out where we live. And yet we're still using their map system. And what I mean by that is my wife and I decided it was a nice day out. So like any other normal person, we decided to go visit graveyards. And we did 2 live streams in graveyards. And we were looking for these really old graves. And we actually found some. And we found an entire Masonic graveyard too. It was cool. But there's this one graveyard that's out here that we couldn't find. And my wife remembered seeing it as a child. And I started thinking about it. So let's say if there was an area, I was telling Steve this last night. Let's say there was a little cemetery near your town, but you can't see it from a main road. You have to know it's there, and you have to make that left turn and that right turn, and then you find it. Well, if you don't know it's there, how would you find it? You would use your GPS, you'd go online, Google Maps, whatever. You'd try to find it through electronic connections. Well, if they wanted to hide anything, all they have to do is just take it off the maps, and we'll never know it was ever there. Because really, unless you've actually walked and put your feet on this area that they're saying, you've only ever seen it virtually. And as we're describing in the virtual meta universe, they can make or create or disappear land wherever they want. And so if they tell you that this thing is not on Google Maps and you can't find it anywhere, then it doesn't exist. Now, you could come across it by accident. Steve did that, I guess, in his town. He just happened to come across a cemetery. But I'm only using that because that's how it came about. But any amount of land you can move or disappear or say it never existed, say like, what do you call it? What's the one that Atlantis? You can just say it no longer exists and take it off all the maps, right? And that's the Atlantis thing too.
Yes.
You could just say it's not here anymore. And unless you can go there, and if they've got a cordon off where you can't, then to you it doesn't exist. And that's how easy it is, because we're still trying to figure out where we live, or at least the map of where we live, off of their information. And that's why when I go back to this book that I found, or it found me at my parents' house, and it was hidden behind a cabinet. It had fallen down, and it's Chariots of the Gods. And my grandfather had, grandfather had written, it's to me and my brother. And he had this note in there, and it says, you guys will need a good geographic world map and an unabridged dictionary. And then the only other thing that's in this book is this blank page. Well, it's also where I got this map where Africa's the center. Remember that one, Steve? That's where I got that from.
Yeah.
But the only other thing that he left in this book is a blank piece of paper, and it's right here. I leave it right there so I can find it. There it is. This blank piece of paper on page 46, and it says on that page, let's see, 500 years ago, a scientist cried out in the law courts, common sense must tell anyone that the earth cannot possibly be a ball. Otherwise, people will fall off the lower half. Nowhere in the Bible does it say the earth revolves around the sun. Consequently, every assertion of the work is of the devil. So it's an entire section that goes over how the earth is flat. And that's the only other thing that was in this book. And it's right on that page. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, and this was put out, and I was like, I think 2. I didn't even know. I saw the movie years later, but I didn't know that book existed until we found it like a couple years ago at my parents' house. Or last year, I think, actually. Even these years are going by so fast. But yeah.
The years, right? It's 2022 somehow. That's so crazy. We've been hanging out for like 2 years on the YouTube.
Right? Isn't that wild?
In the U-verse. That's crazy. It is crazy though. Time's been slipping through. Like it's going out of stock, man. It's just going and going and absolutely going. It's incredible.
So that's why my grandfather told me we need good maps. And as we see, what do we cover mostly on all our shows? We try to go over these maps. Because I believe as they change history, somehow the map makers were able to leave clues for us. And we're finding a lot of information in the maps, just like my grandfather told me. Kind of cool. Shout out to you.
Shout out to Gramps, man.
Hopefully my dad's with him right now.
Absolutely. I like this comment too. So your grandfather probably had a prophetic. I can see that. Getting us ready for the end times, maybe a calling, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Waters above. Time keeps on ticking. Right into the future.
Now I got that in my head. Thanks for the earworm. I do that to Steven on Africa because there's so many weird things going in Africa. And then he gets that Toto song.
I've been listening to that in a minute. Maybe I'll hit that up after. It's a good song.
Yeah.
Did you see this yet? This is nothing new. Did you see this?
I talked about that. Flurona.
The new Flurona.
Did you see how it spells Adolf? Have you seen that?
No.
If you take all of wait, do I still have that meme? I use it on my Show Me Look. If you take all of the names and you take the first letters, you get Adolf.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
I can't find it right now, but yeah, it's like what do we got? When we had Alpha, Omicron. I don't know. You put them in the order and they get Adolf. With Flurona is the last one. The new one that's coming out now that Deltacron. Yeah. But wait, you missed one too. Shoot. See, these are the things I was going to go over Friday, but there's another one. There's one that's called I Hate You. Type in IHU, dude. Seriously, type it in. IHU variant. I'm not making this shit up. They are. Yeah, see? I hate you.
Wow. Wow.
It comes out of Canada, of course.
That's crazy. Omicron,
Flurona, I hate you. I mean, come on. That's why it's so funny. That I talked to you about this, I think, Steve. It's like when you go, hey, what do you mean, God, the great deception? What do I mean? The thing is going to be so stupid, you're going to go, how in the hell do you guys not see it? And then you go, that's the great deception. They literally are calling it, I hate you.
That's crazy.
Oh, what about that tennis star that just got all that news? Shoot, there's a tennis star.
Yeah, Novak Djokovic.
The name Novak Djokovic. Come on, Novak Djokovic.
That's so crazy.
It's kind of like that Wayne Sexton, Novak Djokovic.
So crazy how all these variants either add up to 33, 47, or 56. Isn't that interesting, you know? And I think 47 is highly significant because whoever, whatever is the president of the United States of America, I feel like the next one, 47, that's got to be the last one. I mean, they're getting everything all set in stone, set in place. But
and they also were talking about the last pope, and then I was like, because I was on a show and live somebody said the pope died. Well, actually, they said the poop died, but they misspelled. But then it turned out he hadn't. But then I found a video someone sent me that it said there's a newscaster, and she says, "Oh, and the Pope died," and she goes, "Oh, wait, I'm supposed to say that," or something like that. And so I don't know what's going on there, but they're making us question that too. Why they make us look there also, you know?
Yeah, it is very strange.
Isn't that funny? People never question that. It's so ultra religious. What? A guy dies and they're going to choose in black smoke and white smoke. They're totally doing some kind of like rituals in there, and we're like, "Ooh, we can't wait for the smoke to change." Right? There's like burning bodies or something in the Vatican. What are they doing when they do that? Choose
I
a
don't
pope.
know. Well, see, the last time they chose, they got the new pope thing going was very interesting because it was either for the first or second time in recorded human history that the Pope was replaced, but he didn't die. So that's normally what happens. You're the Pope, you die,
Right.
then it's a new Pope. The only time it happened before was sometime in the 1600s, whatever, you know. Dude was really sick, so it makes sense. But the last Pope, Benedict, that's that his name? The one who looked like Palpatine and
Yeah,
yeah,
he did.
no overlaying health issues, still alive to this day. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Stepped him down, and who they bring in? The first Jesuit Pope, which is very interesting,
Yeah.
and a man who used to be what they considered head of the Jesuits, which they call the Black Pope. So I thought that was very, very, very interesting. And right now there is no Black Pope because they don't need one. You got your white Pope and you got your Jesuit Pope put together. Everything, you know, what's that old Mason motto? One out of many, you know, that's how they roll. They take everything, they put them together. What, Twin Towers go down, what do they erect? One tower, you know?
Yeah.
It's like the two genders being attacked. And what do they want to do? They want to metaverse you. And that's it, you know? That's it. Make you a whole new being.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy, man.
What's going on in here in the chat?
You know their god Janus? Yes. Janus. What they go by, and we're in the month of the Yan. You gotta watch out for all that's the duality aspect.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, in fact, was it Paul, Black Sheep researcher? He's big on Janus.
Yes.
And he's like one of the first persons that ever kind of reached out to me was because he saw that video I had of that matrix in the sky. So yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. There's something with that. I mean, that's how they produce holograms in those domes and stuff, laseriums and things. And so and they showed it too. Did you see the was it King Kong Godzilla movie? They showed in the very beginning of that, Kong's trapped in this thing when he throws a giant tree or something. He breaks into, and of course, what does it turn into? The same hexagon shapes. I mean, we keep seeing that everywhere.
Yeah, very interesting. In one of those Avenger movies, I don't even know, Infinity Stones or whatever. Dude shot it out. What did it come out as? Hexagons, you know? Start fucking up time and all that fun stuff. And very interesting how the time machine they built in that movie, full of hexagons, identical to CERN, all that good stuff, you know, just very interesting. It's like, oh, I wonder where they get these motivations from for movies and whatnot.
Well, it's obvious, it's provably so that they can't create because they keep making the same shitty movies over and over. Like, okay, I'll give you the first Matrix was great, and the second one had special effects, and the third one was a piece of crap, and the fourth one, everyone honestly should go to some kind of camp or something on that one. Everybody involved in that movie should be taken away out of society, honestly, because it was just, it was so bad, so bad. And so it's like they can't create anything new. They just keep reprocessing it. So where did they get their original stories? Well, they took them from what they learned from the fallen ones, most likely, right? And just created it. So now instead of being God's creatures that we can have all these powers, no, only if you're like some weird superhero mutant, you have these powers, and the rest of you stupid mortals just watch, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see if I can find this video. I had a video, but I don't know if I still have it. It was
yeah, watch out for those truther women born in January, but yeah.
I'm trying to see if I still have this. It's the that video from last year, 2 years ago actually, when there it is, the Microsoft commercial with Abrima Abramovich. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that plays right into this whole meta verse and whatnot. So let me bring this up. Let's get us out of here. All right, can you see that?
Yes, I can, unfortunately. I see the witch.
The witch.
She's a witch.
I believe that art of the future is art without objects. It's just pure transmission of energy between the viewer and the artist. To me, mixed reality is this answer.
My wife thinks she's a werewolf, not a witch. Jen thinks she's a
This
dude.
was an opportunity to take the most legendary artists working now and capture them in such a way that they are translatable forever.
This Eckhart guy, he is like the one who says the next step of evolution is digital. So
You're trying to find works that break new ground. We here at Christie's believe that this is that. And it will be the first time that a mixed reality artwork is sold at auction.
There was always a question what you buy when you buy performance. You buy the video or you buy the additional photographs. Here, you actually can have the artist's presence in your collection.
The first thing that we had to figure out was...
Hey, Steve. So they could all be like demonically possessed people, making them look like us, because that's what they say. They're going to walk among us. And then they put on this little skit, and we all go, oh, this is cool. That seems like a nice person. But they take that off, and they go eat a baby or something, right?
literally, it's exactly what they're doing. And this was the metaverse concept before metaverse. You know, this is a literal digital art auction. You could buy things that aren't real, but if you put on your goggles, you know, your demon goggles, it's good to go. You know, very interesting. Now look at the black. She comes out of the black circle, the portal. Burn, you know?
And we're like, they call us weird because we point these things out. Right. Like, come on, they're doing it, not us. Right. If we made these weird videos, okay, maybe you guys have a point. I didn't make this. I didn't make, like someone wrote Celine Dion go all creepy around babies and put them in like black and white things with upside down cross. I didn't do that. She did it. I just said this lady's sick, and everyone goes, "You monster!" Wait, I didn't do it. Get me out of this nonsense. I didn't do it.
He said, "You monster."
I just pointed out they're sick, and I get in trouble.
It's absolutely crazy.
I need more coffee.
Because you had to feel that you were in the room with Marina, not a document of Marina. So HoloLens 2...
And a red dress, of course.
And of course, it's always in the red dress. But did you hear what she said? He said this only works if you feel her in the room. You have to let it in, you know? Just like we were talking about before yesterday, Richard, the mark of the beast might not be something physical. You
have to accept it.
You let it in.
They told us on Supernatural, the only way they get possessed is they have to accept the spirits in the body.
Exactly.
I clearly have an interest in the audience forgetting that they are using technology. So the purest expression of artistic intent can happen.
I I really want viewer to be with.
Isn't that crazy? You must forget you're using technology. Sounds like magic, you know?
They're telling you need to let her enter you. That doesn't
Yeah.
sound bad at all.
So crazy.
Can happen.
I really want viewer to be with me in the space in here and now. The life is dealing with what is going to stay after I'm not there anymore. And I can face myself. And that's a frightening experience. Really like you face your own ghost. There is always this great idea of immortality. Once you die, the work will never die because the work of art can continue. In performance, the piece is only in the memory of the audience and nowhere else. Here, I am kept forever.
That's interesting. Here I am kept forever.
Mm-hmm.
You shall, want death, but death shall flee from you. If you're uploaded into some sort of virtual matrix, yeah, you might not be there anymore.
Another thing bothered me just there, a memory from a long time ago when I was a kid, because we were one of the first houses that had that you could get movies at home. Back in the day when they were starting, it was like Showtime, or one of them was one of the first ones. And shout out to my dad if he's listening somehow. He had a friend that got this thing called the Silver Bullet, and you would attach it on the back of your cable box, because back in the day, what they did is they broadcast everything free, and then they put a scrambler at your house that would scramble it. And this guy had a filter that you could put on, and then everything would come in. And so what I would do as a kid, because my parents didn't know much about VCRs and stuff, is I'd set up a long VHS cassette that would just tape anything that showed up on that movie channel, and I could get it to go for 8 hours. And I would take the TV guide and cover the lights. You couldn't see that it was recording. And then I could watch like whatever R-rated movies and stuff that I wasn't allowed to stay up for. And there was this one creepy one that I couldn't watch the whole thing. It was called Tim Drum. And the end of that just said Tin Drum Productions. And I bet you she was involved in it, because it was about a kid that something happened to him and he stopped his growth, and he was like a 10-year-old. And like there was scenes about war and stuff. And then he ends up having a sexual relationship with a grown woman and stuff. And it tripped me out. So like I didn't finish watching this whole thing. And of course, now I see Tin Drum. I know that they're connected to it. They have to be, because it's such a weird, trippy movie.
Well, it kind of reminds me of Gordy Rose's brand there, Kindred.
Kindred? What's that? Does that stand for? Oh, yeah, you're right.
With the
and what's
Ouroboros, making robots that are humans and taking over the job industry slowly. Good guy, good people.
Wasn't there one too that one of those late night talk show hosts had something weird about kids in his too, or something? I don't know, just weird shit.
The Jimmy Kimmel?
Yeah, like one of those guys. I don't know. Yeah, let's get off of this.
Yeah, they're all. This is a red flag.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with this.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I just got triggered by that Tin Drum. I hadn't thought about that thing in forever. So,
yeah, shit's mad crazy, dude.
Oh, they've been messing with us even in our cartoons for forever. They've always been after us, and the things they're doing with the kids now with the Sesame Street puppets and stuff. It's horrible.
What do they got on Sesame Street now?
They're telling the kids to get their
jabs. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, having puppets tell them.
Yep. And what was it last week? Pfizer came out with the pill
that we've been talking about they were going to do.
Yeah, right. The stuff that we made up, they made reality.
Well, I mentioned way back when they first mentioned the pill, the U.S. government had already bought a bunch of them, and it still had no approval. I don't know if it has to this date, but they're launching it out. It's like, not that I believe in this whole FDA thing, but the normal people, or whatever you call them, they believe in it, and even by their standards, it's not been approved as far as I know. It's EAU.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Have we gone over this map, this rendition of the plane? we gone over this, Rich?
No, I'm not familiar with it. And while you're doing that, I'll look real quick to send you that thing you sent me. But keep going.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a very interesting take on what someone has as I don't know the world, the realm we live in, and it's very interesting. It's I don't know if you've seen that video I was sharing a couple weeks back. It was he was I don't know if he was a Freemason or is a Freemason, but this is what he drew as the world, and whatever this black sun is that's inside of the earth is responsible for the northern lights. It's also responsible for the darkening of the moon, and it's just very interesting. And the very interesting part is, so say we have a half moon up here, right? Left half is good to go. Right half is blackened. The only reason it's blackened is because whatever this thing projects onto the moon simply just darkens out the other side of the moon. Can you follow that? It's very interesting. And down here,
So where is the light coming from, you're saying?
It's from inside of the whatever we think the North Pole is.
So it shoots out where God's throne is. Wait.
No. I got a video. It's better. No, it shoots out from underneath the throne, underneath.
Right. But that's the same area. So that's where all the light comes out, and then it hits the things around it. Is the idea? Is that what you're saying?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like this. Here, let me show you this real quick.
And I can't find that email with all those maps. I'll find it and send it.
I couldn't either.
Yeah. It might be one of those ones that vanished. You know how that works.
You gotta love that. But it was something like more towards the concept of this in the bottom left here.
Dude, now that's interesting because to this day they can't tell you how the eyeball works, so that would make sense.
Exactly, bro.
Because doesn't the eyeball project it? Like the light comes in, it goes upside down, and then flips around and comes out. Right? So
something along those lines.
It's supposed to flip upside down. That's fucking weird. As above, so below, right? So it comes in one way and then your eyeball flips it another. Maybe that's it. Maybe we got to untwist our eyeballs and then we'll see things the correct way. Boom. What do you think of that? Maybe there's a little, they've twisted something in our eyeballs and you just got to untwist it. What do you think of that, Steve? Come on. Anything?
No, it's
right. Like, look, here's a piece. Here's the tissue. If I take it and I do this, right, and so now the light comes in, but it looks differently in my eye. If I just untwist it, then maybe I'm supposed to. I see it. Maybe that's how we get our eyes blinded, right? Those that can see. So maybe we're slowly untwisting whatever it is, and we can see through the veil. I don't know, but that's cool.
If there's a way of us doing that.
Can I see that again? That thing? I haven't seen that before. That picture.
With
the eyeballs and all that?
Oh, man, that's long gone now.
Dude. All right, I'll rewind it later.
No, you're good. Give me 1 second.
But no, I'm thinking that looked the same. And it's something they can't tell you how it works, right? Go into medical science. They don't know how this works still.
No, they have no idea.
He immediately draws the geometric shape of an oblate spheroid.
Whoops. All right. I mean, I guess that works. We can just leave that down here.
Light reflecting and refracting. Yeah, same process. See, it makes sense to me. I like when the chat agrees with me. Okay.
All right. Here, check this out.
Similar to the eye theory, yeah.
That ain't it. There it is. Boom.
Yeah, that thing. Look at that. Whoever put that together, that's great.
Very interesting, huh?
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things, I shared the video of this dude showing this whole map creation, and I'm not saying I'm taking credit for this, but within 2-3 weeks, people are making posts like this. They got their own renditions of that video, and it started catching fire and started going around, and a lot of people are relating to this just like you are, and
yeah, I just screenshot. I'll look at that later. That's awesome.
I think it's very interesting, dude. And it has a lot to do with this whole realm, right down to our own eyeballs, perhaps.
Well, and how many people's eye color changed recently?
Yeah, that too.
I'm talking like, Hitler was brown, is now blue, and things like that. And then also people in my real life, their eye colors have changed. So that's interesting.
I have noticed that too. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. But Okay, you know what I'll do? Let me get out of this.
I was looking at a similar video. Yeah, Wayne, I see what you did there. It's pretty funny.
Whoops. Can I move this? No? Cool. All right.
Oh, interesting. Did you see what Any Word wrote?
No, I didn't.
Let's see. It says dilated pupil north would fuck some shit up. And it's like a Langoliers. That was that book by Stephen King. So, yeah, interesting. Because if we are doing this whole toroidal field and things are getting more intense and stuff.
I can't send this to you for some reason.
Why?
Look at it. I don't know, bro. That's beautiful. All right. Well, we'll try that again a different time.
Yeah. No, I won't allow it. Anyone else but him.
Yeah, right. F him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Oh, shoot.
But yeah, I'll play this out because this is
You'll play this out. What does that mean? We'll play this out. There are no words here. Sorry.
What?
No, it's all right. I'm quoting something that two people understand. Keep going.
I'm not one of them.
I know.
Right here, I'll play this out real quick and just let me know what you think.
We'll do it live.
I am. Shut up and listen.
We can see how he separates the oblate spheroid with a disc that has a hole in the center. Then, below he draws a circle with a swastika inside and immediately paints it completely black. From this black circle rays come out and 3 rays pass through the hole in the center. Below he writes, still, one of the possible meanings of this black circle may be the black sun. He draws reliefs on the edge of the hole and writes North Pole.
And honestly, before we even continue, when I saw this video the first time, I got this far and I was like, this has to be true, because if you think about it, I mean, the image they just showed a second ago, can I get it back? Yeah, right here, found in almost every single civilization to date. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are they, where would this worship of a so-called black sun, black hole sun type deal even come from? And then second of all, you had the whole Nazi regime, and they were literal, like, admitted black sun worshipers, and I mean, they were doing anything but going inside the earth. You know, they were going through Shambhala. They went up north to the Nordics. They went to the northern tip of like Greenland. I don't know if they ever quite went to the North Pole, but we all know about their stay in the South Pole, and all their military operations. Most of them were underground, like they were searching for something inside of the earth. It makes perfect sense. So crazy. But all right, let me try this. Let's get back to where we were.
And above this hole inside what would be the celestial vault, he draws a star, the polar star or Polaris.
Gives you a thumbs up.
He marks 2 points and connects them in a circle and writes, equator. he draws two lines that go down from the polar star to the 2 points. The lines form a triangle. He highlights two of the rays coming out of the black sun and also forms a triangle, but vice versa.
Now, what does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting?
Now, I've covered that shape that he's about to draw, maybe, because if he finishes the, oh, yes, please, more coffee. If he finishes the lines across those triangles, he, of course, gets a flag that everyone knows as the Star of David. But if you read the scripture,
That's
it's
not
spoken about in the end times, people will be representing the Star of Remphan. And if you look up the Star of Remphan, it is that emblem of the double triangles upside down and straight up. It has never been the Star of David. It is not a symbol of whatever Israel is or isn't.
Exactly.
It's always been the Star of Remphan, and it's called out however many thousand years, whatever you want to say the Bible was written. He specifically calls out just a few things. He'll call out like Satan and Lucifer and things. Very few things he actually names, but he specifically names the Star of Remphan is going to be used as a deceit. And here it is everywhere, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And it's also another, oh, excuse me, got a hiccup there, but you got your what's that there? The Mason symbol.
Right? The what do you call it? The compass.
Compasses, yep. And if you literally just shade this center part in all the way up and down, that's your Rosicrucian, your Knights Templar logo.
Mm-hmm. And if you continue that along, you get that hexagonal kind of looking pattern.
Of course, that's always the end game is the hexagon, I feel. But it just makes me chuckle because everyone pointing fingers. Oh, it's got to be the Rosicrucians. It's the Jesuits. It's the Knights Templar. It's the Knights this. It's the Illuminati. Well, technically, they all have the same freaking symbol. So who do you think's running it? I would just call it them, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. We're always trying to put labels.
Of America. We're trying to point fingers at all the crooks, but it's like, well, it's actually Coca-Cola. It's Wells Fargo. It's Moderna. You know what I'm saying? It's all these big wig companies who work together, you know?
Well, and you and I were talking about this last night is because of our limitations that we put on ourselves because we think things in linear and in human values. We always have to put it into a body, a person, a company, a corporation, and say, I hate Kill Gates or somebody. You say, no, as it turns out, when you go all the way up the food chain, it's still the same dude screwing with you. It's Satan and his minions, and it's a spiritual battle, and it's in your mind. And so that's why if you let them take up camp, yeah, you can really get sick fast, right? If you think everything's killing you, it's going to start killing you.
Exactly.
So you got to fight back, and you have to less chemicals in your body and fight back in your mind and take back your own your real estate because that's what they want to do. And they're going to make all this. It's the same people that have been doing it throughout the beginning of time. That's part of the test. Full armor God. You got to fight it all off because it's going to come at you from every angle, right?
200%. I couldn't agree more.
200%. That's very true.
Where's your little ad libs?
I know. We're on your show.
We're on my program, yeah.
You got to get some.
Not the fun program, huh?
You know, people say that now in my chat without me. It's funny.
It's funny. I have people commenting on like my Facebook post. That's very true.
No way. That's hilarious. Oh, I love you guys.
I swear to God, yeah.
That's
crazy.
Fantastic.
But,
this is great. I'm loving this video, and eventually get it to me. Maybe Oscar can send it to me since you're not allowed, I guess.
I'll try, man. I'll try.
That was so weird.
There's a little restriction before.
You're allowed to send to anyone but me. But keep going. This is great.
Yeah, the real gravy is about to get poured on. Check this out in a minute.
And he writes, as above, so below. It's one of the 7 principles of Hermes Trismegistus. It appears on the Emerald Tablet and then in the Kabbalion. He erases the intersections and draws the sun and moon.
Where did you find this?
It found me, Rich. I don't find anything. People just send me the most incredible stuff.
And he makes a gesture of rotation.
Yeah, but it's not us. We're stationary. It's everything moving around us.
That's what he's showing. The moon and the sun revolve around us.
But because they're trapped in the firmament, whatever that is. And that's what I've always said. I believe in the ball theory, only the firmament goes all the way around us. So whatever shape we are, it goes above us and below us, forms that ball, and that stuff spins around us, and we just sit there and watch it.
Exactly.
This is great.
It's incredible, right?
Yeah, but there has to be some other variant here, because sometimes the sun and the moon shift their area. They don't stay in those locked spaces.
No,
right?
He's just
showing some of the stars do.
He's just showing a general conception.
But isn't that interesting? Because some of the stars are locked and fixed, but the sun and the moon are allowed to move around separately somehow. So they must be on another type of connection, right?
Yes, I tend to agree with that. Yeah.
They'd have to be on a different cycle than the ones that are locked in. And then, of course, you have the planets, which now I believe are the wandering angels that God got pissed at and said, fine, you're going to be stuck in this cycle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you got that red star out now. I don't know if you've seen that lately.
I know, yeah. I maybe it's bad to do, but screw it. I got full armor, hopefully, and I'll talk to him like, man, what did you do? You're so angry. What did you do? Like, I'll say shit like that. It's like, hey, maybe you know more than me, but I'm getting to do fun things down here, and I look up and you're just doing that all the time. So,
trying to get out. That's crazy. Good stuff.
We can't be afraid of him, right? If you show fear to the bully, then he will have his way with you. So you got to stand up to him. I'm going to be afraid of a red star. How in the fuck am I supposed to fight with God in the end times if I'm afraid of a light in the sky? God's up there going, oh my God, really? Seriously? Come on. You can't be afraid of the tower. Don't be afraid of the red light or the loud noise. So it's not easy to do. We've been put fear into us since we're born. I showed a video and it also depends on your environment. I showed a video. My wife hates it, but it's a guy holding a little baby, and he walks by a door and he takes his hand and he wraps his knuckle on the door, and then he grabs the baby and goes, "Oh, are you okay?" And suddenly the baby starts to cry because his parents were like concerned for his welfare, even though nothing happened to him. And he started to cry. And so it's all about the environment. We're sponges to emotion and everything. And if everything around us that's negative, then we're going to feel that too. So we need to decide what comes into our antenna now that we're awake enough to know, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I like that analogy there. That story. That's good stuff.
Thanks.
All right, let's hit the play.
Cap wants to know what red light. Turn on the red light, Roxanne. I'm not sure.
I don't know either.
We show the distance of the moon and the sun.
Oh, the star in the sky, Cap. That's what we're talking
about. Both are 3,300 miles or 5,310 kilometers away.
Don't know how I feel about that, but to each their own.
Yeah. Meat and bones, right? Keep what you want.
I'd say like 330 miles, but what do we know?
Then he measures the diameter of the sun and moon, being the same with a diameter of 32 miles or 51 kilometers.
Or 33.
I mean, that would make sense too, because the shadow, the black shadow that went across the America during the last solar eclipse was roughly like 68 to 72 miles, give or take, depending just depending where you were, I guess. But how shadows work, say I have a light behind me, I put something up in front of it on the wall, the shadow is not going to be smaller, it's going to be bigger. So if the moon is only 30, 40 miles in diameter, I mean, I could see the shadow being 60, 70 miles wide. Makes perfect sense to me. Not a 22,000 mile wide object that turns into a 74 mile wide shadow. That doesn't work. And they call it they have some stupid word. Basically, it's lensing, but you can't buy that because it's not real. Never been provable, never been retested because it can't happen.
He draws continents on the surface and on the other side as well. He points both sides and writes, same. Below he writes Summerland. He draws rays coming out of the black sun and writes, Northern Lights. The center of the drawing is equal to the Mason symbol, which is a square and a compass.
He's probably got a Masonic ring on that hand, too.
Yeah, right.
There's some big rings on there.
Well, like I said, this is either a Mason or a weak out Mason.
I think they let some of this escape to us just to mess with us.
They have to. It's part of the cosmic rule book.
He points out the ray coming out of the black sun toward the moon, and then he erases the face of the moon.
So basically what he's showing there is that, like I said, that ray that'll come out of the black sun will block out the half of the moon that we cannot see and project it down here somehow, some way.
So down there, they're seeing the other half upside down. Like the eyeball. We're back to the eyeball. See how it flips?
Yes, and if it's a full moon up here, it's a new moon down there, essentially. I thought that was very interesting.
So the black hole sun in our eyeball is maybe what's flipping it upside down, because they don't know how it works. So whatever that could potentially be in our eyes that we can somehow unfeather or whatever you call unfurl, maybe we'd see the entire thing and we see through the matrix and we're out. I don't know. Well, I mean, there's something there. There is something there.
There is, but God's put restrictions and limitations on us for people like you and me. Perhaps.
Well, yeah, but I think part of our awakening process is if we concentrate on this, maybe we figure it out because we're allowed. He's not going to allow us to figure it out until we are able to handle the information. That's why I don't play around with the stuff that'll like mind warp you outside of here. Yeah, you'll probably get out there, but good luck. What if you're not prepared for what you end up bringing back with you? I don't know how that works. So I keep asking for these things and wisdom and how to figure it out. But there's something here. Anytime they tell you they don't know how something works, like the eyeball, there's something there that they don't want us to know because they don't know. So the fact that he's drawing basically, once again, an eyeball and the black hole sun, whatever that is, flips the script so it's upside down. That's what's going on in our eyeballs. It's very connected. And I don't know how. I don't even know what I'm saying, but it's exactly what you're drawing is how an eyeball works, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's absolutely crazy.
There's something here. I don't know what it is, but there's something here.
Take that for what it's worth, people.
Right. You learn that here. You learn nothing. No, keep playing this. This is great.
He makes signs explaining that the sun doesn't light up the moon. Who does it is the black sun.
Exactly.
Okay, but wait a minute, 1 second. The Bible says that the moon, or Enoch says the moon gets its light from the sun. But he could be talking about the other one, right? The black hole
sun. Yeah. Exactly.
Interesting. So that doesn't negate it. It actually, it's
yes,
it works.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I like comparing it to make sure, because that's me, the oldest reference.
Oh, I did the same thing too. I was like, I don't know if this fits, and then I, dipped in a little. I'm like, all right, it fits.
Do you know how we see colors? I don't know if most people know that. Do you know how you see colors?
I'm a little colorblind, so no, I don't actually.
Okay, so the way it works is your eye there's a filter on the color. So light goes through an object. If I make the color red and I paint it on this object, now all of the light will go through that object except the red color, and then it looks red. And that's how you see it. And so when you see something white, it's basically all colors are being allowed through. And when you see something black, none of the colors are being allowed through. And depending on the pigments that you use to make objects or whatever, that's how you see that color. It's whatever light isn't going through the object. That's how you see it. Is that cool? So with this whole black hole sun thing, if it's in our eyes, God says that, the blind and that whole thing, those that eyes to see, and the whole story about how Saul is walking through the desert and he gets, what do you call it? Not shingles. What does he get? Scales, right? He can't see until he meets this other dude, and then he can see. And there's something here, that there's something that's filtering our eyes, and we can't see this other realm. And if we were to figure out how to clear through that, I believe you're gonna see more, just like the color and how it stops your eyes when you see red or whatever. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It does make sense. But the only counter argument I would give is just, I don't think we'll be able to do that, because for our own benefit. I think God has let us see and hear what we can see and hear, because what we could see and what we could hear, even, I'm not saying with the full armor of God, you'd still get whatever, but I still think that what we can't see and what we can't hear, we can't see and can't hear for our benefit. We're not ready.
Correct.
The restraint hasn't been loosened yet. So I think trying to undo that by yourself is probably not a good idea.
I guess I didn't speak myself clearly.
No.
What I mean is,
you want to sit in a room and start.
No. I wasn't. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm saying I think there's an answer in here as to why we can't see the things that we can't see. Everything that I do, whenever I ask for anything, is always just wisdom. Can you just give me the tools that I need to get through whatever this nonsense is? Guide me through this. That's what I ask for. And if he decides tomorrow I get this, then I have it. But I don't. No, I'm not outwardly trying to break through to figure out how to see. I'm just saying, I think this is a connection as to why we have this thing that we can't see.
Yes.
Yes.
The physical meets the spiritual in a barrier, in essence,
Yeah.
And I was just speaking for our own benefit. I don't think God does it to laugh at us and
no.
This,
No,
that's what a lot of viewers will think, though,
Well, seeing that, I feel the same way about, let's say, because he even talks about things like magic and tarot cards, right? Now, those work. I know they do. Why? Because things can happen from them. But what does he say? He tells you not to mess with them because you don't know who you're talking to, right? Are you talking to someone that's on your side? Or are you talking to Loki or someone or Satan himself? You don't
Well,
know.
not even, you could be conjuring up what you think is your grandma, but it's just a spirit that monitored your grandma for its entire life. It would know exactly what to say to trigger a response from you.
Yeah. And then do demonic things to you and mess with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know somebody that went to one of those fortune tellers and they said that your future husband will be wearing bike shorts. And she married the next dude that showed up in her wherever she was wearing bike shorts. And it was a horrific marriage. And he ended up turning to be gay. So it's like they were just messing with her, or they didn't know what they were doing. And they were just, because when people hear things and they get bad news, they're like, oh, well, that's not going to happen. But if they hear good news, well, then they're going to concentrate. Oh, that's going to happen. You know what I mean? It's
they
weird.
Make it happen, whether it's for or against them. And like you said, about 99.99% of the time, it's probably not within God's laws and it's not going to benefit you, but he'll let you do it anyways, just so you don't go back to the terror people.
Well, that's the thing. He tells you, here's all the tools. You have free will. I'm telling you not to do it. I'm not saying you're going to hell. I'm telling you that if you keep doing this and you continue to sin, well, the sentence for that is death. I'm not saying you did this, now you're going to die. No, you can repent in the very last minute, he says. Why? Because more than anything, he's a loving and forgiving God. Why do I believe that? I have to believe in that. Are you kidding me? That's what I want. I know the shit I've done. No, God, I'm sorry. Forgive me. And he's like, I got you. At least I feel that way. And so that's what it is. Doesn't mean you can't sin again. There's only been one perfect person and they strung him up. So, what does he say? Just stay in as righteous as you can, because you can't preach to other people if you're not standing on solid ground. But you're going to make mistakes. Just keep learning from it and try not to make the same ones, right?
Yes. Absolutely. And, I've always kind of like pictured what the heavenly courtroom would be like for us. Like when you go in personally, I could see, this is how I picture it up. Like it's a little funny, but I see God just in the center as the judge. Then like for some strange reason, I feel like Jesus or someone would be like the accuser, like, oh man, like look what you did this day. Do you remember that day? Like what were you doing there? And you want to this and that. And then I would just look at God and be like, well, what about that forgiveness thing? Like kind of ask for that a couple times,
And that's why I've said it's the hardest thing to do, this whole turn the other cheek, right?
Oh,
but when you think about it,
it sucks, dude.
You can't, an act can be unforgivable, but the person has to be forgiven, because if you can't forgive someone, how do you expect God to be able to forgive you? So you have to believe in the system or it doesn't work. What does that mean? If someone has just done a horrific thing, you have to then say something maybe happened to them. They were possessed. I don't know. Or it wasn't even pray for them that they find salvation or judgment from God and let it go. You can't hold in the anger on that person because it makes you sick. And I think that's because it's not godly. He doesn't want you to do that. He wants you to let it go. And the universe will take care of itself within God's laws. It might not be in the time frame you think, but it will happen. You have to believe in that. That's what faith is, right?
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's get.
Shoot, keep going on this. I'm having a blast.
That's it.
Oh, that was it?
That was it.
Wow.
My bad.
That's all right. And this whole eyeball thing's really starting to like connect. I told you there's a Muslim friend of mine that he's one of the most godly men I've ever met. And he told me this story. I'll just paraphrase it. It's about this guy that all he ever did was praise God. And so God came to him and said, you can have whatever you want. And he goes, well, I kind of want to be just put off by myself, where I'm self-sufficient and just pray to you all the time. And he said, great. And he puts him on this little island, and that's what he does all the time. And he has all the food and water he needs. And then when it's close to where he's going to die, God says, is there anything that you need? And he goes, well, I'd just like to die in that prostrate position with my head to the ground, praising you. And so that's how he goes out. And so then when he goes to heaven and he's there, and God says, okay, here's this, I forget his name. He gets to go into heaven by my grace. And the thing that you're saying, the court of God, it's funny because it's like, then the guy decides to mouth off, which is so stupid. Like, okay, whatever. He's like, what do you mean by your grace? What about everything I prayed to you all the time, my whole life? And God's like, all right, hey, bring him back. And so he goes back in and he's like, okay, he goes, here, let's do this. We'll match up what you've done and what I've done. We'll forget about the fact that I gave you life. All right, we'll give you that. So on this side, we'll put on this scale all of the prayers that you said to me. Okay. And on this side, guess what he says? We'll start with your eyes. I gave you the sight. And he puts it on this, and the scale goes conk. And he's like, now we haven't even gotten anywhere else. And this is as far as we've gotten. And you have nothing compared to what I have given you throughout your life. So yes, you will get to go into heaven, and you get to go in by my grace. Now get out of here. And it's like, but that story is about, the first thing he talks about is his eyes. And here we are again talking about eyes. It's kind of weird. And the judgment day of God. And it's all in that one story that was taught to me. Pretty trippy.
Just very crazy, you know. And it's funny how a lot of things are based upon the eye of Horus, you know. So that's
it's on the dollar bill, right?
Yeah.
It was it was in all the Lord of the Rings movies, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. The dollar
Who was
bill
it I was listening to? Someone said that they did one of those drugs that everyone's talking about. Again, I did a story on it, just saying everyone be careful, because the CIA is currently doing productions and stuff looking into things like what is it, the MDA and mushrooms and different things that people are all talking about. They're working and they're making it. So you don't, just be careful where your stuff's coming from, because they obviously have your best in mind, intent in mind. But someone said they were on some trip and they felt a bunch of eyeballs on them, like the eye of Horus. And I looked at my wife and I go, that sounds terrifying. Like, that's like kind of like proving my point. Yeah, you're on the other side of the veil, but you're surrounded by who's waiting for you. Demons and shit, right? It's like, get me out. No bueno. I don't want a bunch of eyeballs. And they show it in those movies, right? The longer you have the ring, next thing you know, the thing's looking at you. Right? Yeah. They showed it to you on Lord of the Rings, right? Fredo, or what is his name? Fredo, right?
I'm not a Lord of the Rings guy, so I don't.
Well, obviously I was, but I don't remember their names.
I mean, I've seen the movies, but I wasn't even.
Yeah. Fredo, he puts on the ring, and the longer he wears it, then he's back at him. The eyeball, the eye of Horus.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they put truths, all the movies, all the shows, all the music, but turn on your local news or open up to any page in your history book, and it's about 98.7% lies. But that 2% is what everyone's holding on. But this is true, whether you think this or that. It's like, so 2% is true. The whole thing's true, right?
Well, like a lot of people know, my father passed away just recently. But what happened was, and I even told my mom this. There's a story about Samson, and he's gonna die, but in his last act, he actually kills more people than he did his entire life. And so I said to my mom, my dad was checking out, but the last thing he did was a whole bunch of people that haven't been talking have been talking to each other, not because they didn't like each other, just because, life happens. And so all these people have made these connections. And I'm now started talking to my mom about the things that I would talk to my dad about, but she wasn't ready. And so one of the things that she said the other night when we were discussing it is she now thinks that there is something up with the moon landing. And she doesn't believe that there's a car flying in space. And so I said, well, just so you know, Mom, those two things that are provable to you now, they've lied to you. I said, if someone close to you came to your house and lied straight up to your face about some pretty big things, would you ever trust anything else they said? And she said, no. And I go, well, now you're on the path where I started. And so praise God, we'll see. I'll keep praying, but there seems to be a little bit of an opening in all of this trauma that's happened to my family. So, that's how he works in mysterious ways, maybe. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. But isn't that something? She's starting to see it now.
No, he does. He does work in the most mysterious ways possible. But here, I just got to use the bathroom real quick. I'm going to put a song on.
Put a song on.
Break.
I'll pee too. Anybody else? You all got to pee? Go ahead.
I'm gonna say we could probably rock for another like half hour or so on my end.
But cool. wait, you have to give me this. You have to let me share screen one time, and I want you to see this. The thing that I was mentioning when I told you, what does it mean? We'll play this out. Can you see me?
You're up.
Okay. If you haven't seen this, Steve, can you hear it?
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with I can't do it. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. And thing sucks. 5, 4, 3. That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.
Anyways, because somebody says that they wrote in the script, they wrote and we'll play us out, and he loses his mind, and that's what you were saying. Anyways, so I was talking to two people. Anyways, go pee.
That's okay. All right, guys, we'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere. And if anyone would like to make donations, the link is pinned in the chat a couple times. Highly appreciate that. But we'll be back in just a minute. Let me put the earphones in. Sounds better. All right.
Come, I'll show you the sweetest delight in the garden. As a surprise for Adam.
Really?
Come.
All right.
Here.
But this is the one tree in the garden we cannot touch. This is the forbidden fruit.
Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? Surely not.
We may eat the fruit of any tree in the garden, except for the tree in the middle of the garden. God has forbidden us to either touch or eat the fruit of that tree, for if we do, we shall die.
You believe that nonsense? Of course you will not die. God knows that as soon as you eat it, your eyes will be opened, and you and Adam will be like gods yourselves.
All of us one day will reach the level of the avatars that we have read about in history, the Buddhas, Jesus, infinite ones, God.
You ain't your servant, you cast your spell up on this planet with your graven images and your wishes to be worshipped. Witches and warlocks flock like Harry Potter fans, waiting for your new age plan to spread across the land. You got the masses dumped down where you want them, convinced that you don't exist, and now you got them atheists. Some even think they're evolving to a godlike level above and beyond human. These Luciferian lies feed on ego and pride. They come disguised as an angel of light, like the original sin and the first deception. The tree in the garden, don't you see the connection? It's the same old lie that he used back then at the beginning of time, at the fall of man. Have we forgotten the truth within the book of Genesis? Ignorant of the nature of sin, so we dismiss written words of God as an irrelevant myth, but then embrace all these new age thoughts of nonsense.
It's not good or bad. There's no God waiting to punish you because you did one or the other.
There is no God in doing everyone is God. Welcome to the kingdom of heaven, without judgment, without hate, without testing, without anything.
I'm called my practices, and pagan worshiping in fact exists. See through the smoke and the mirrors and the mist, from Atlantis to the American fanatical myths, to the UFO connection with the German SS. Secret society elitists from the east and the west, Illuminati and Masonics, and it all connects. Satanic worship to the depths, we don't want to admit. It's a globalized illusion that we gotta correct. Check the symbols and signs like the all-seeing eye. Read the Bible facts to understand the great design. See the writing on the wall, we're living in end times. And even the elective now bought into the lie. Real Satanists are dressed up in their suits and ties, eating the fruit like these fools who think they are divine. They aren't evolved, they're just blinded by ego and pride, living a lie that disguised like Jekyll and Hyde. Can you deny that these times were all prophesied? Read Matthew 24:24, you decide.
There's no such thing as good or bad. Judging things practice and tradition. There are things that I do that I know they involve me. There are other things that do not involve me. It's not good or bad. There's no God waiting to punish you as you get one another.
There is no God who can everyone's God. Everyone's God. Everyone's God.
All right. What is going on? We are back. We are live. We have gone to the bathroom and we feel great. But yeah, we're probably just gonna have another, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes seeing what's happening. But real quick, guys, like I said before, the link for donations is in the chat via PayPal. And I honestly haven't been to work. I went to work twice this week, and I've missed like 15 days since Christmas. So any donations would be highly appreciated. What's all that yelling?
Oh, it's something downstairs. Maybe the
your
dogs are getting into it.
Microphone's really good then.
Yeah, it's really hot. I'll turn it down if I can.
That's okay.
One of these buttons. I think it's set to 13. What's one more? That's another reference. Doesn't mean anything to anyone.
Yeah, it means nothing to me. Sorry. You remember I was born like 20 years ago.
I know. This is Spinal Tap. Nobody knows.
Oh yeah, I don't even know nothing about that. But what else you got lined up? You got anything else you want to get into? Did you happen to find that email by chance or no?
Dude, it's gone. I went through. I can't find it. That it had like all these maps in
Well,
it.
who were we live with? You know, because that's the issue. I can't figure out who we were live with. I don't know if it was Tommy or someone else that you guys hooked me up with. I don't know. Yeah, that's unfortunate, and I feel like a dick.
Well, I mean, we'll have to find it somehow. It'll find us.
Yeah, I just wish I knew who we were with when we went live, so it'd be 3 times easier to hit them up. But if you are the person who sent the maps and you're watching this, hit us up, please.
Correct.
Like pretty please, with a cherry on top. You got a question in the chat. What is up, ceiling fan man?
What is up?
What is up?
Lights, ceiling. Who's saying what is up? Oh, DJ Noriga. So I don't know. Steve and I were just talking. We hadn't talked in a while. He's felt no bueno for a while, and like I said, a lot of us have been feeling just out of sorts. And then, of course, with a lot of stuff goes on, in the last few days or months of the year. But he and I started talking, and we just said, let's talk on air, because that whole map thing, how they can make things disappear on us, is fascinating to me. And now this new eyeball thing, not that it's new, but like I'm looking at it again with new eyes. The same thing. You can look over something that you talked about a year ago and look at it again and go, wow, I didn't see that last time. Right? We were just talking about that too. You look at an old show and next thing you know, you go, now I see it differently.
It's funny. Like I'll look at something that's like weeks old, months, years old, and somehow it fits in with exactly what I'm looking at right now, and for that to happen is very, very very, like we said before, God works in many mysterious ways. And I feel like one of them is definitely the information realm. Because like I was saying before about the map we were just looking at, I shared that video a month or two ago. And within that month, people were sending me maps of that thing. People were sending me the eyeball. People were hitting me up other ways. Jen's been going nuts on that whole topic with the black sun. I'm not quite following the lead she's got, but it's a good concept. And I'm not God. I don't know everything, but what we show here is very it's different than what you would get on your regular Baby Truth stream or whatever those people are showing you. They're still talking about
shit, they're talking about Bob Saget now. Like, enough already. It's like, it's all nonsense. I understand we have to say that happened, but then that's it. Give it 2 seconds.
But there's no need to make a live stream about it, And all the people get obsessed with every single celebrity. Like, oh, look how this one's connected. Like, hey, asshats. Like, why don't you understand that they're all connected? They're all not good people, You see them on a screen in the movie theaters, chances are they're doing terrible things to great people,
Like, even, it doesn't matter how nice my favorite, one of my favorite handlers still is Clint Eastwood. I know he's evil with many things that he's done over the years, but I still have a problem seeing it. So I just choose not to, like, we all had to go through that and realize bad things are happening to get to where we are, but you don't have to stay there. You can do everything you can to, like, not engage in it, as far as thinking about it and talking about it and all that. Know it exists, but don't give it any energy in your head, because again, they live there rent free. And every time you see Tom Hanks and you want to throw or shoot the screen, that's not good for you. You need to let it go and turn it on the other side. Laugh at it. Say, oh my God, people are buying into this. They really think that this is
look
happening.
At these clouds. It's absolutely ridiculous. People get worked up over the wrong things.
Yeah, like somebody showed a meme that showed that Alec Baldwin, back in, I think it was the days of Gunsmoke, fired his gun. They counted how many hundreds of times he never hurt a soul, whatever. Now he's like killing people on movie sets. It's all just nonsense. I did a whole video, like, put to the tuna soap about how stupid this world is in the news. It's all just a soap opera.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. I like that. Exactly.
It's a good little meme post or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Don't believe a word I say. Just go look it up. You'll find out that the originator is not SteveJMO.com. It's mostly patents and stuff that we're not, taught about on a day-to-day basis. I'm not making any of this stuff up. Granted, we do a little speculating here and there, but it's all in the foundations of what's really going on.
Right.
Like, I'm not just going to wake up one day and start telling people there's a fake sun in the sky. Like, no, there's got to be some implications that there's probably a fake sun in the sky for me to wake up and start thinking that way. It's like, I didn't wake up and, oh man, I think today's a good day to make a flat earth video,
Today's a good day to lose most of my family and friends and make them think I'm crazy.
Exactly.
And if I'm lucky, I can make $5 a month from YouTube and piss off people, because when they turn on a video, they have a skippable ad that they don't agree with. I've had that happen. I even lost a listener because someone hacked Jen's Facebook account and sent a thing saying, pay this Nigerian man something. And, I lose over silly things like that. So it's like, it is what it is. It's just right now, a couple of really incredibly smart, handsome dudes on the screen that turn their cameras around, expecting nothing other than making a difference and doing God's work. Because there's really no other reason why, Steve, did we do this, to ostracize? Like, hey, what would it be like in some mind game to ostracize ourselves from society and go? You know what I mean? Like, why would I do this? How come I was rational and I ran a business and stuff a few years back, but now I'm a person that no one wants to listen because I've lost my mind? Oh my gosh.
And that's what happens, It talks about how they would demonize us and ostracize us and make us look like we're the mad ones in the world, but in reality, they are they're the ones that are pulling the strings, you know, and it's
my go-to position is fine. You don't want to believe what I say and you think I'm crazy. You think there's a car flying around space. To me, that's the mic drop. Go ahead. You think I'm crazy. You think there's a car flying in space.
Not
that the
just any
tires
car.
never burst and the paint never buckles.
Yeah,
And it's
convertible.
just, yeah. And you can watch it right now. There's a live stream with nice little music. And you have to believe in that. See? To me, that's the mic drop. You want to laugh at me and say I'm nuts? Fine. You think this is real, and you show them the car.
That's funny.
How do they fight that? Because if they say yes, well, you got nothing. There's no point. They're not going to listen. And if they say no, well, then you got a foot in the door and say, well, why? Why don't you not believe that? And you believe that you show them the moon lander, and you say you think that would make it underwater with the tape and the paper mache. I mean, come on. But I believed it too. That's again that whole twisting of the eye. That moonlander used to look interesting to me. I took pictures with it when I got to see it one time.
Let's be clear.
Oops, sorry.
Oh,
you're good. But yeah, man, the whole everything is never what it seems to be, and that's where they get most people. You know, like they give them this standard on how everything should be, you know, and for the most part everything should be complicated according to them, you know, when it comes to this realm and the stuff we're dealing with. It can't be that easy, you know. It can't be as simple as a flat earth and the sun and the moon just do this, you know. No, we have to be on a ball that got hit by 30 million meteorites 10 billion years ago, and then gas formed, and then a giraffe took a piss, and then came a monkey. You know, it's everything has to be complicated in their eyes, in their mindset, and it just is so the opposite. You know, it's honestly realizing what this place actually was. For a lot of people, it's a burden. You know, for me, it was relief. It was like, wow, I've been barking up the right tree this whole time, and it feels great. You know, it feels absolutely great. I mean, there's still little percent that's open for you know, other variables that could change, but I mean, the video we just saw, I mean, that kind of puts it down pat. You know, it's literally that simple. It's complicated in its material form, but it's much more simple than you being able to see lights that happen to be 7 billion miles away. You know, that's what's funny to me. That's the caveat. I don't care what kind of satellites and cars they have in space. You think that you could see a light in the sky 7 billion light years away, not miles, light years, you know?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Or you can see Tycho crater on the moon, which is like whatever,
Yes.
60 miles, 66 miles, or whatever you can see with your naked eye. From like, okay, whatever. Like, I can't see California from here. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. Even if it was completely flat and I had eyesight for it, you wouldn't see it, but you could see the moon. And tell me then, how come they explain on maybe there is an explanation. I'm too stupid, but how does when there's a solar eclipse happening and during the day, now the moon's out all the time. In fact, a lot of times out here, it's out more in the daytime than it is at night, but that's a whole other thing. How come I don't see the moon before the eclipse, right? I only see the moon right when it's in front of the sun, and then that's it. It never shows up in the sky during that other period. How come I don't see it making its way across, right?
That's a great question, you know, and that was one of the biggest questions I had when this whole eclipse thing happened a couple years ago. But from what I hear, there's another eclipse coming. I think you and me covered this one of the last times we actually went live in 2024, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
There's another eclipse coming, and it's going to start in the southwest of the United States and work its way up to my area, to the northeast.
Right.
And we saw it had an intersecting point, like somewhere in like Kansas or Oklahoma or something like that. So I'm going to be looking into that a little bit further. And what else would I want to look at too on that day? I forget what day this eclipse is on, but I just think it's very interesting. You know, I'm not a whatever you call it, a democratic voting kind of guy, but it seems very interesting that if I do remember correctly, it does happen in that season. So they may just use that as another distraction to get people away from what we should be doing, perhaps, you know.
Yeah.
Use the whole election thing while we should be looking up in the sky, not the opposite. I know that was worded backwards, but very interesting.
Oh, hey, good to see you. I've been praying for you. I heard
Yes.
Shelby went through some stuff, so
I almost forgot to pray too. I was like about to fall asleep, and I've opened my eyes. I'm like laying in bed. I'm like, oh man, like, does this count as a prayer? Like, I'm not
they
getting
all of them do.
I hope they do.
God, I had so much fun with you and your mom and Steve and Jen. We were just walking around, checking out old buildings and stuff. That was just the best time. So
that was sick. That
Yeah.
was awesome. That was like doing a live stream live. Like I had like the
Yeah.
camera guy who was you. I had the audience.
That was fun.
And over here, Jen's in this building. I'm on top of this building over here, and you're in the middle. Like, I don't know where to film, and I'm on 10%.
Yeah. And I don't know if you were listening earlier, but we've all felt this like darkness, and it's been breaking, and so hopefully you'll get better very soon if you haven't already. So,
And it's like we were saying before, it's like a lot of people were getting hit up with ailments or something, you know, something negative happened to a lot of people over the last 2.5, 3 weeks, you know, and what you said earlier, something that I've talked about on this channel many times is sometime around Halloween, you know, every year, from what they tell us, you know, like when you read occult not biographies, but occult just text and whatnot, you know, they talk about how the veil between our world and the spirit world is exponentially thin in or around Halloween. And I don't think it ever shut up this year. I don't think the portal ever closed, because we've been seeing this ridiculousness, whether it be dark stuff, whether it just be stuff on the mainstream media, just people getting affected with stuff they've never had to deal with in their life. And it's just people are getting hit, you know, and it's a lot of people in the truth community that are getting hit with interesting things too. And I feel like it's because that we have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. The adversary, he sees us as a threat, so he's trying to weaken us, to scare us, to hurt us, to remind us that, you know, he still has a little power in this realm, which he does, but he cannot kill us. You know, you can get sick and get mind deaf through the media machine. That's not him killing you, that's you killing you. You know, that's how he gets off. And plus, we have all these awesome doctors just throwing ventilators in people's mouths, and you know what happens. It's a $54,000 payday. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so I'm going to mention something. People in the chat, the way these shows work, neither one of us are professional at what we do. In fact, this show came up last night on a conversation he and I were having. But we decided we would just come on here and talk. And sometimes, believe it or not, I even talk so much I talk over Steve over here, and he's very gracious and he lets me go, because sometimes I just pontificate on a thought I have in my head and I need to get it out. Having said that, there's a lot of times we don't even look at the chat, and I haven't looked at it in a while. And if you feel that we're ignoring you in the chat, it's not because we're doing anything on purpose. We're just talking, and you came here to listen. And if you have things or questions, write to us. I have an email that's out there, ceilingfanman2020@gmail. Steve has his that's out there. You can write to him or anyone in the chat, because believe it or not, I've talked to many people that have written me that are completely alone. Their family doesn't talk to them. Their friends don't talk to them, or everyone they know has already passed on. I have a son that no longer talks to me. So we all experiencing it, and nothing against any one particular person. And if you're angry or hurt, we didn't cause it. We're just trying to figure this out like you are. And so if you've been hurt, I'm sorry, and I will pray for you in whatever you're going through. But I won't engage in a conversation where we just call each other names. I won't do that.
No.
And that's all. So that's how I feel, and I'll pray for anybody that's hurting. That's the whole reason I do my show, is because God gave me some blessings that I have a wife that listens, and I can turn my camera on and help others that are alone. So that's what I have to say to that.
And we like that. It's all about the positive energy. It's not like we're getting on here like, oh man, get ready for the 5G monster to come get you. Like, oh, COVID's gonna get you. Like we're simply making you aware to the idea that these things that they tell us are real are not even real. They're just ideas. That you heard on the black screen.
Yeah, because we don't know. We're figuring it out right with you. I didn't know it. I didn't know you existed. I didn't know any of this was upside down just a few years ago. I'm learning as we do it on screen. I'm learning in front of you. And if I make mistakes, I'll say I made a mistake. I don't think I have here. At least not tonight.
I think we're all in a good position, at least, at least what we're doing over here. We're trying to spread the message and spread the awareness and spread the spirit at the end of the day, because my favorite quote in the Bible is, I think it's in Ephesians, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but principality and spirits on high, so you definitely, that's, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but that quote is worth 1,000 words, because that's it's true, like Ceiling Fan said before. You think it's Bill Gates. He thinks it's Elon Musk. He thinks it's Jody Rose. He thinks it's Klaus Schwab, which it could be. But at the end of the day, it's a conglomeration of them. And they are, they're just tillmen for Satan. They're just laying out the groundwork. It's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
And God even says that we're going to take on not spirits, but angels, demons, whatever. We're going to see them throughout our lives, and how we interact is part of our tests. Just for instance, this conversation that's in here. I don't know who's motivating him to say or her to say these things, but how are we going to react? Are we going to yell at this person? And no, we're going to open them with love and say, look, if you're having troubles, reach out. But that could be throughout your life. You're going to walk by somebody that looks homeless, and you could walk by and do nothing, or you could give them something or give them a sandwich. And maybe they're not even real. Maybe that was just a test. And he goes back up and says to God, well, he did good there. You know what I mean? You don't know. And you just need to live your life with love. And you need to try to at least do as best you can as to what we were taught through Jesus, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You said something I wanted to comment on, and it kind of went already.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. It went in my realm and out the other. So that's okay. I don't know who's trolling, but
it's this gentleman, whoever. But my Moai friends are here, so I'm protected. We're good. Not Moai, Samoan. See? My wife, I think, put something in my coffee. My Samoans are here.
Come dancing up the stairs.
Oh, shoot. She laughs every time I say that. She's like, are you going to keep saying that? I go, yes.
Yeah. And someone says the chat is for us, but I also like to interact on the chats, especially if I'm going like live by myself. Always good to answer questions and interact with the chat. If if the computer's willing, I take calls sometimes, but I haven't quite figured out how to do with a guest on. I can hear you, they can't hear you, but you can hear them, but you can't talk to them.
I know. I have to say, I don't know how to do it. Stavely's got to help us both.
He sent me a link for digital cables, and apparently the digital audio cables are out of stock. Imagine that. Didn't have someone at the desk to hit the link, I guess.
Yeah.
After they took my $20, by the way, they informed me they're out of stock.
Wait, there's no one at the digital desk to send you the digital link?
I guess not, bro. I'm $20 in the hole to virtualaudioCable.net. They've sent me nothing.
You got to get who's that dude? The lawnmower man, right? Isn't that the guy that's in there? He can get that. Maybe he'll send it to you.
What's interesting? You know who Destiny Lab is?
Yeah.
He actually did the like the character work, whatever you call it, the not the animation, but what they wear. He did all that work for Lawnmower Man.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I've listened to him with Airborne a lot. I didn't know he did that.
Yeah, that was what he did before
That's cool.
He woke up and all that stuff. He was, I don't know what you would call that, but like a design costume guy, you know, for like monsters and aliens and whatnot. And his story is very interesting. I've actually interviewed him once or twice. And yeah, like he was at the point where like he was like so in with the whole alien concept that he was designing alien suits for movies, and he actually was trying to get abducted at one point, you know, but now he's all out of that, and he's doing you know, he does what he does on YouTube, makes those sick ass music videos for those gnarly songs. It's like Cypher's Hill rapping the Bible, you know. And a lot of people have an issue with that, you know. It's like, in my opinion, I think it's cool because you have all these young kids that aren't going to relate to a 2 hour and 39-minute stream, but you know, they do relate well to rap music, you know.
Yeah.
So I share his stuff everywhere, and I got a couple people who make music professionally, and I send them their stuff all the time. They're like, "Oh, dude, who is this?" I'm like, "You'll never know him, but just listen, you know, just listen." Because he's not, you know, they don't make music like mainstream music.
Yeah.
Destiny Lab crew, but and I don't think he wants to either, you know. I wouldn't, you know, make a couple CDs here and there, and that should be good enough.
Yeah, I've used his stuff before. I like his music. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Days of Noah video he's got where it's all the giants and the flood, and it actually shows what we were talking about. How, remember, we were saying that these giant craters all around the world aren't actually craters. That could be where the fucking water started coming up back in the day, you know. It talks about the vaults of heaven were open and the water came up from within, you know. And I feel like those were the fountains. Perhaps I got a post on it on my Facebook wall like a month back, but yeah, Destiny Lab really helped me on my truth journey. Good job, good shit. So I mean, has Days of Noah been taken down? No, he's just being smart. He's not. I mean, the stuff he's showing on Patreon and whatnot. I mean, you couldn't get a 5 minutes of that on YouTube without getting 3 strikes, you know. So he's really nailing it with the whole jabs and what's happening on that end. But anyone else in the chat have any questions? I think we're just gonna wrap it up in a minute here. If you guys have any questions, just put them in what's it called? All caps. Make them bold, make them big. You got 2 guys with glasses that can't read.
And that's the thing, you know, sometimes one of my sons, there's one of my sons that watches me, and he's in the chat, and I swear most of the time I'll ask my wife, was he there? Because I don't know, you've seen it, Steve. You don't read the chat for the longest time, and then some comment catches your eye and you say something about it. But that's how it works. So no ill intent. I don't have favors other than I see certain people, I might comment on them because I've had private interaction with them or so. But other than that, no, if it's a comment, I see it, I'll talk about it. I have no ill intent. So hope everyone's having a good time here. I've been entertained. That eyeball thing is something. I'm going to keep thinking about that all day.
I know you got your engines.
Yeah.
Man,
well, when you look at those projectors, they always have, you know, like I said, they have the projection underneath and it shoots it up under the dome on the top. And then we all look at that. We sit in those chairs that lean back. It's the same thing going on.
Not the terrarium, but the
planetarium.
Planetarium, right? Yes. Yeah. And honestly, I'm a flat earther, and I love going into those, dude.
Right.
Because it's like, show me the difference, you know. Because I don't know, man. You know, sometimes I think some of the stuff in the sky is digital, but I can't prove that. But I mean, if you're sitting in a planetarium, you know, you could see Saturn, you know, it looks like a ball, and you step outside, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Who's to say there's not a couple projection screens up there, you know? I don't think the ones that are going boom, 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 boom in the sky, I don't think those are projections. You could feel those somehow, some way. But
pull this up while you talk. Keep going.
The regular ones, you know, the stars that we all see that go on forever and ever and ever, you know, granted, they could be souls, or, you know, they could be some sort of awesome projection system that the creator installed. Who knows, man? Flat floor with a round sky. Exactly.
Here, I'm going to show you this real quick here. It's 30 seconds. Oops. Stop.
29.
Go back.
28.
No. The clip.
I know.
Nut job. Okay. Let's see. We'll go here.
So I could put on the 30-second countdown.
Click. No, stop it. It's already enough pressure. I told you my wife's putting something in my coffee. Okay, can you see this?
I see it. Let's get us off the screen first.
So this was the latest.
This is what you were talking about.
Yeah, it's King Kong versus Godzilla, and he's the whole beginning. He's outside fighting something, and then he takes this tree and he goes ka-choosh. Well, it makes its own noises, and then what do we see there?
Wow,
that's the same thing I took a picture of, and we've been talking about this grid. Look how many layers there are. There's this grid. And this grid, you can see
one. There's a non-physical one. Wow!
Right? And it's going through these to somewhere else too, right?
What in the world?
Right? Truman Show. They show us this shit all the time. See, Kong knows. Stupid monkey. We don't.
Now, from a movie perspective, is that the same King Kong from the? Real quick, that looks like Solar Simulator, but wondering why they, you throw all the hexagons together, get the black center going. There's your solar
black hole sun, right?
Yeah, literally. What was interesting about that too? Chris Cornell, CC33. Chris Cornell, when he died in 2017, the year of the black sun going across America, I swear you couldn't not hear that song. Didn't matter what radio station you put on. You put on that station and it was there, dude. It's crazy. It was like, and from what from what I've learned about music, it's not music, dude. It's just chanting. And at that rate, you're chanting for this black sun. You're chanting for this other shit. It's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, no, it's it's right there in your face as usual.
Freaking nuts, dude. But real quick, whoever donated on Cash App, I appreciate that. I just have no way to figure out who did that because that's how Cash App works. So I think it was you, Jim. I think it may have been Jim. If it wasn't Jim, shout out to Jim anyway. So good stuff there. But what else? You got anything else? Because I'm about to pull the plug on this.
I'm good. I had a great time. Thanks again for inviting me. And
yeah, man. Thank you for coming on.
I'll see you around the playground, and eventually I'll see you on Friday, 6 p.m. West Coast, like normal. So that's about it. And everybody, pray for each other. We're all going through it, and we're strong together, and we can do that through the grace of God. So stay strong, and it's. I think the test that we're going through now is to strengthen us because it could get tougher.
Yes, I was going to say we have to endure.
Right. And if we haven't slowly worked that muscle up, it's going that men will die from fear. So we have to be strong for those that are not ready. We have to be ready for them. So, shoot. One more thing. Ray, I've been talking about him a lot too much, but mud floods. He was on a bus apparently today and no mask, and they stopped the bus. And it was like 18 degrees outside. And he's like, I'm not moving. And he stood his ground. And the police or someone came and they got the bus moving. And shout out to Ray. He's standing up for our rights and he's doing it the right way. And the Holy Spirit's working through him. And I'm really excited to hear he did it. And he did it with grace.
That's awesome. That's what we like to hear, man. Good stories, good times, good people.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me. My wife reminded me.
The butler. No.
Okay. So that's all I got.
That's all he's got. That's all I got. I'm just doing a little highlight here in the chat. Everyone, thanks for coming. Collectively, we had like 149 people at one point on this channel, the backup and Facebook. So shout out to all you guys. The reason I did on both platforms, I didn't know what we were going to get into, and I wanted to be able to salvage my main channel in case we started digging in. Then we could just all move to the backup. So,
and this comment on the screen, yes, we are trying to be wise as serpents and as harmless as doves. And if it's a toe that I stepped on backing up trying to look at something, I apologize. So
that's okay, man. Bon says, "Have no fear," and we're gonna rock it out with that. Everyone in the chat, love you guys so much. Everyone who did donate today, thank you so much. Highly appreciated. A link to Ceiling Fans Man channel is in the description. And if you would like to make donations to his page, I know if you click the link, that's the first thing you'll see on the YouTube page. So definitely hit that up, guys. Please sub and bell. Ceiling Fan Man, share all his work. He does nothing but top shelf gravy, if you know what I'm saying. But with that being said, guys, we're out of here. Like, share, and subscribe around the board, and we're out.